Hi, everyone. This is Sophia Cruz, and I'm here with Robert Marshall from Source Elements. Thank you so much, Robert, for being here tonight with me.
Thank you.
Our voiceover community desperately needs help. No matter how many people you help, no matter how many people George helps and Dan Leonard and all these people, I still see the same questions. I have problems with my port settings. I don't know what I'm doing. Right?
Yeah.
So here we are tonight. We're going to give two examples of people who have not installed Source Elements or Source Connect standard into their computer, and hopefully we will run into some problems because the point here is to help you set up. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not wishing the worst on us tonight, but it is possible we will run into problems, and hopefully you will get them resolved. And everybody who's on, if you have certain problems, when we go through, definitely put it in the Q&A. I need everybody to put your questions in the Q&A box, not in the chat. I won't have the ability to go back and forth on all the chat stuff, so that's why I need you to put it in the Q&A, so I can streamline our questions. So if there's something that Robert didn't cover as you went through the process, that's where I need you to put it, and then I will make sure that Robert answers them for us, for you. And I was going to tell you something, Robert, from the beginning. In one of the groups that I'm in, there's certain studios that don't know because the license comes in an ILOC, wherever my thing is.
Yep.
And we talked about this in the last webinar. If a studio has an ILOC and it's at the studio and they're working from home because we're all quarantined, they don't know that they can contact Source Elements to get that temporary license. So I wanted to let you know that in case you want to send out an email to your users saying if you're a pro studio and need a temporary license, I hate to add more work for you, but I did want to let you know that that is a concern. And if there's any other concerns that you guys want to raise, we don't want to make Robert want to leave here and never come back.
No,
but it is helpful for him to know what's happening. Obviously, this is his company, and I say this from the beginning because I haven't said it. I'm not getting paid to do this. This is completely. I don't get stock from Source Elements, or maybe I should. No, I'm just kidding. This is just a desire to help people because my whole emphasis in life is to be business minded in our voiceover business, and a lot of people have see themselves as just talent and don't understand that this is a business. And that's why I launched Voiceover Business Tools 2 years ago, and the first webinar that I did was with Robert because I saw how many people were ill-equipped to understand Source Connect standard and actually Source Elements and all their suite of offerings that they offer. We will touch on Source Connect now today briefly so you understand the difference. And in that same thread, people were upset because studios are asking us for Source Connect now, and then they say, well, we don't have our license, so now you have to connect through Source Connect now. And they're like, but that one's free and I spent all this money. Here's the thing. It is our job to be fully equipped to do our job. And if a client says Source Connect Standard or Source Connect Now, your response is, yes, I know both. How can we connect today? We can't be upset when a client changes their mind, or if they decide to do IPDTL, which I just learned last night, which is like way more different than it was when I first did it 2 years ago myself. So I get that we're learning new things and we're being challenged and stretched to become more equipped, but this is the business, and we can't be upset with people who help us in that endeavor, or our clients who request that. So I just say that with all the love in my heart for you guys, to you be prepared. And maybe one of the reasons why I am so busy with recordings, I got my first New York agent. I've been added to like 10 rosters. I get casting auditions every day. I literally record from sun up to sundown till 3 in the morning. That is how insanely busy I am right now. The quarantine has not affected me in the least, other than the fact that I have to be quarantined because I have to work, not because of what's happening with COVID. What a great problem to have for every single voice actor, because for me, I took the time 15 years ago to learn everything I need to do and implement it as I went along. So that is my desire. That's the place and that's the heart that I come from. It's not to preach, it's not to make anybody feel bad, but it is to help people understand that this is a business, and the more equipped you are, the more success you're going to be able to say yes to all the opportunities that come your way, because there's so many at every level. And if you can say yes, you are ready. Okay. Skylar said yes. So let's go to Skylar. Okay, Skylar, I'm gonna promote you to panelist and you should join us here live. Yay, Skylar. Now, if we don't have to see you, but we do need to see your screen. And Robert will be able to access it. We're going to have you, he's going to take control and he's just going to do it for you in the sense to help show everybody. So that's the beautiful thing. And thank you, Robert, because, you know, I don't know how much George charges per hour, but I can't imagine it's not cheap. And you guys are backed up. So this was a way to give back to you guys, so the people who really need the help to get it for free. And everybody else who watches, I assure you that it will help you, because I learned a lot in the Spanish version on how to set my support settings, because I didn't know how to do that either. So Skylar, if you can find your microphone and hit unmute. Oh, I just unmuted you. Did it work? Skylar, can you talk?
Hi.
Hi, I can hear you.
Hi, cool. Yeah, I'm not in my booth right now. I'm actually outside of it at my workstation. So I'm using an 80-20-20 here.
Okay. And all that matters is that we have access to your computer, and then we'll show you how to, when you're in your booth and you have your computer connected, you'll see the settings to select the microphone that's in your studio. But if you don't need that right now, that's not a problem. Would you mind if in your presentation, I'm sorry, your screen, it says share screen on the bottom, it's a green button. You click on that, and then you select the main window, which is usually the first icon that you see on the left, desktop 1. I would also encourage you, oh, before you did that,
oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead and hit stop share.
Okay, hang on just a second. You like minimize the window here.
Yes, you minimize it, hit escape. I can take you off. I'll just do that.
Yeah, just do that.
Okay, and then you'll start again. So before you hit share again, you know you hit the green button share, and then you hit desktop. On the bottom left-hand corner, it says share computer sound. You want to click on that and then hit share. The reason I say that is just in case we need to hear some audio, it's already there, and we won't have to stop the presentation again.
All right.
Okay, and I'm going to make a side note on this. Zoom is not a very difficult platform to learn, but it obviously requires just a little bit of knowledge. I'm going to recommend that you learn Zoom. You can set up a free account for free, and of course pay. Obviously I'm paying. I'm not getting paid, but I am paying. And
I've just never had to present in one. I've always been an attendee.
Right. And the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of studios are using Zoom to connect with talent, especially if you're in the dubbing world, animation world, and anything maybe when we're used to being synced to video, whether it's a corporate video or stuff like that. It's just really good to be prepared and have even the knowledge of Zoom. And so I don't know if it would be beneficial to have a Zoom class. That one would be paid because I have to stop doing things for free at this point. I'm really, but if that interests you, I'd be happy to do one. But okay, so Skylar, can you hit share again? Okay, and then do it like that. Perfect. All right, great. So we don't see anything. Did you select the desktop?
I did. I'm getting a prompt telling me to install an audio device for Zoom. I've never seen this before. Just a second. It wants my password.
That's okay. It's totally okay.
I'll just interject that we've got really good video tools for doing video that's in sync with the audio. So, you know, things like when you're doing mix to picture across Zoom, it's sort of rubbery, or Skype is the same way. Those are all, you know, you can't really gauge certain things on that. It does make it easy.
Don't I need to have, well, we're going to talk about the different levels, but wouldn't I need to have Source Connect Pro in order for that Source Connect Pro studio to connect with me via video and I see everything and sync up, or no?
No, you just need Source Connect Standard.
I think we need to have, and we can charge these studios, I was kidding. But I think the studios need some guidance because I don't know that they understand the full capabilities because.
They basically you need some sort of workstation to contain the video in your system so that they have, you know, your systems can run in parallel, but absolutely you just need standard. They need pro. They can control your video playback. You read the picture, they receive it in perfect sync.
Wow.
If not with Zoom, basically by the time the video gets from them to
Yeah, no, I understand the latency. Yeah.
from them to you and then you back to them,
Yeah.
it's late. It's late by at least probably a second or something.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. And this is, the spirit in which I made a post on Facebook that a few people received not so great, but this is what does serve me as a professional talent, and hopefully you take it the way it's intended. Anytime we can offer solutions to our clients, that makes us valuable to them. And so now we know this. And so if I have a client says, I don't know how we're going to do this, I can say, oh, I know that you can use Source Connect Pro. And hopefully they can get the results that they need, or the orientation stuff from Robert, but at least I can tell them, hey, if you didn't know this is possible, this is how it can work. So, okay, Skylar, we can see your screen, and I'm going to, Robert is going to request.
I got it.
And you need to say yes, basically.
I just need your social security number, credit card information.
And your credit card number. Yeah, right. This is all.
What street were you born on? What was that?
Date of birth.
Right.
I would say open system preferences. You definitely need to give us permission. Yep.
Padlock on the left. So go down to the padlock on the lower left.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. And then password.
We shouldn't be able to see your password, though. I don't.
No, it won't see it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't think it'll just show up as dots.
Dots. Yeah. And so now click on Zoom in the middle there. And let's see. Hold on. Do I have it? Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Yep. So you don't have to touch it now, Skylar. He's going to take it from here.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. So, Skylar, you have, let's get this chat window out of the way and that out of the way.
I'll move that.
No, let's see. Wait. Let's keep your browser square in the middle so that we don't, we get both sides of it. Okay. Move my email out of the way. Okay. Let's have you log in. So here, let me get the mouse for a second.
All right.
So up here in the upper right, you're going to log in. And at what point are you in the whole process, Skylar? I guess because
actually, I just purchased it last night. I got the 2 emails, the invoice and the confirmation, and that's about it. It's
okay. So you haven't even downloaded your license.
I have not. That's correct.
All right. So let's do it. So go ahead and log in there.
Well, does he have an account? Oh yeah. Okay.
I do.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
And this is, I'm going to take a point to interject with things that I do know, which is very limited. Well, I shouldn't say that anymore, but one good thing that most people don't know is that you don't have to have the license for Source Connect Standard on an iLok. I didn't know that. That's something new. However, Robert does recommend that you have it on an iLok, and I'll let him explain why. I'm going to add to the fact that if I lost one and it cost me $200 to replace with the iLok and all the licenses. So it's something most people don't know. Oh,
you had a bunch of licenses on there.
I did, yes.
Yeah, for us it was only $40, but every different manufacturer has their own fees.
So if you do lose it, my recommendation is pay the $150. I don't know how much iLok charges, because if you sign up for the protection program, which is like $150,
it's $30 a year. The protection is $30 a year for 0 downtime. You had to pay $100 because you had to jump into it without having it from the beginning.
Right. Okay. So if I have it from the beginning, okay. So I'm saying all this stuff because I've kind of gone through like the badness of it. It cost me a lot of money to have and to get it back. So obviously the best thing is to not lose it, but it's like ridiculous small. And so I lost it. So I want to just give that as a PSA if it helps anybody and if anybody remembers. Okay.
So we're going to scroll down. We just logged into his dashboard, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom. We're going to go to orders and subscriptions. And so he's already been to the store and purchased. And here, I'm trying to get Zoom windows out of my way. I'm sorry, Sophia, I can't see you anymore.
You don't have to see me. I'm okay.
The problem is I keep on moving the Zoom window and it wants to
snap back in the middle. I know, it always does. I know, and that is the problem that people don't see when we screen share, but it's okay. We understand.
Okay, so you view your order, and this is also emailed to you, but I always just do it from the store because it's just quick to get to, and you copy your activation code. And then you go to a new browser tab is the way I do it instead of backing up. And you go to sourceelements.com. And you go to purchase, activate license.
Okay.
You scroll down. You scroll up a little bit more. There it goes. And you paste your license there and you validate. And it says, indeed, hopefully, you have a license for that. And then your iLok. Do you have an iLok account?
You know, I actually, I think I do. I think I did on my old computer before I sold it. I have no clue how to get back into it.
So let's check. So here's one of those
Here's
things.
a question that I was going to ask you. Do they actually need the iLok username if they don't have the iLok?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You need an iLok account. You don't have to have a physical iLok, but the system still uses the iLok system. It's just where can the license be downloaded to? In the case of standard, it can go to a computer. In the case of the pro licenses, they have to go to a physical iLok.
Okay, good to know. See, I learned something every single webinar.
So we can start guessing, or we can go to the forgot username and password. See, Sophia, we start right off the bat with your exactly what you wanted.
No, this is to help people. I don't want problems. I swear to God, I literally don't.
Right. So yeah, Recover ID, that'd be your email address.
Probably under this email address. Let me move the window so I can see that. Why is it not letting me finish my email address? Oh, here we go.
There it goes.
All right.
All right. Off to your email, which is a good sign because I think it would have told you that you don't have an account if it didn't recognize it.
Right.
Yeah, I would imagine it would have. Okay, this is done.
It takes like a second. It takes like a second.
Yeah.
I have two Gmail accounts. I have a professional one and I have like a personal one.
And this is what I recommend those who know me in VO Business Tools. If you have a program like Evernote, you want to write every single thing down. Source Connect elements, iLok account, username, password for each. And Robert, you said that this in the last webinar to create the same username and password for both Source Elements and not necessarily password, but the same username. For both
same username.
Yeah,
in general, it's not a good idea to recycle passwords between services, although it is extremely convenient if you do that and
for
say
these two. Well, we won't tell you what
it's not so bad, but just in general as a practice, it's important not to, because if any one service is compromised, then they get your password and then they have your next password and they start, it's like a domino.
But at the very least, have your username the same, so it helps you because it does connect the
That's
accounts.
Right.
And then the other thing is with Evernote, it's my brain, my second brain. And if you were to ever lose your iLok stuff, activation code, your passwords, your usernames, every link when you have Source Connect now, your guest link, your pass key for that. So keep everything in one thing so that you don't ever have to worry about losing any of this stuff. That's what I do so that in 10 years, which is what happens. I bought my iLok 10 years ago. When I lost it, I had everything there and I didn't have to go scramble for, and then the actual, what is this called?
I can give you another trick if you don't want to do the $35 or whatever it is, zero downtime thing, and you're traveling for a moment, and you have your iLok in your bag.
Yeah.
Take your iLok, unload all the licenses back up to your account. So that if you do lose your iLok, you just lost $40 and you didn't lose all the licenses. And then when you get to your hotel and you're back in a place where everything's in your control, download your licenses back to the iLok.
Oh, so I can unload, download them back up as many times as I want?
Yes.
Oh, see, I learned another new thing. Okay. Well, I didn't
lose
it
that way, if you're like, if you're traveling and you're not too sure what the TSA is going to do with your bag, or you're not, who knows?
Believe it or not, in all the travels I did the last 2 years. Yeah, believe it or not, in all the 2 years that I traveled extensively, not as much as Michael Scott. But I never lost it then. I lost it in a freaking move. I packed up my studio and it never showed up when I moved on the other side. So who knows?
Well, I had my bag stolen from the NAB show at Las Vegas, and they got my iLock. I had to go through it. You know,
Wow.
so it happens in many different ways. Moving, just someone stealing your crap. You know, it's annoying when it happens. I agree. So you're in, it looks like.
I did, yeah. I had to change my password and whatnot, but I'm in.
Okay, I'm just going to remind everybody to please put your questions in the chat. I mean, sorry, not in the chat, in the Q&A, so that way I actually can see them and make sure I answer them for you. Because in the chat, if people are chatting and saying stuff, that's all great. I want you guys to be like all in this. But in order for me to answer your questions, please put them in the chat. Oh, I mean, in the Q&A. My brain is equally fried.
Right. Fried day. Okay.
Friday. Okay.
So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, go ahead and you're signed in. So this is your username, and so here. I guess let me get the mouse at this point. We'll jump in. Do I have El Mouso? Yep. Okay. See, my Spanish is so good. Did you hear that?
Yeah, you're still trying to talk to us in Spanish, but everybody here is English. He did a great job. Rebecca is the other co-founder or the founder of Source Elements. I met her in Barcelona. And I think she's, well, and Robert is is it your dad is Argentinian? Or your mom?
My mom is from Argentina. My dad, he's like basically I'm completely split. My mom is, you know, as they say, off the boat from Argentina. And my dad's family actually goes back to the Mayflower. And you don't want to hear my dad attempt to speak Spanish because it's muy malo. It's like me.
It's kind of my uncle's actually a photographer in Guatemala, so I took like 4 years of Spanish. I know it fairly well, but
it's a practice thing. So anyways, we're going to validate now your iLock account, and so you validate that, and this is an important thing here because I have seen situations where people have very similar names. Make sure this is you.
Okay, so when they validate, make sure you're validating the right account and the right license.
And so because that way now what we're going to do is down here, we are now going to deliver that license to your iLock account. This is the moment where it's like handing over.
Yeah, and if you need them to redo it, it'll be $40.
It's so
sorry,
there
I
it
have to say that.
Yeah. So there that is. And then, so now what we can do is we can just, there's a couple ways to do this. Skylar, did you already run a trial or have you not run Source Connect yet?
I haven't run a trial. I have had some exposure to it like in the many years ago.
But on this computer, you have not.
I have not. No.
Okay, so this is the easy way. If you don't have a license already, well, actually, you don't even have Source Connect in here, do you? So let's.
Well, this is great because I love that Skylar is at this stage in his setup because it's really helping us get all these steps we didn't have before.
Yeah, I've only had this computer for a year, so it's still. So not everything's quite up to.
Right. So here's actually a thing, and I just fell into our own thing. Like, you can't go to the downloads page because you don't have a license. Au contraire. So this one.
Hold on. The share screen is stopped, or is it just on my end? Oh, it was just on my end. Sorry. Never mind.
Okay. So so basically, Skylar had an account for Source Connect now, and he never associated his. Usually when you create the Source Elements account, one of the first questions or second or third question asked is, what's your iLock account? You can skip that. And if you skip that, then you end up with just a basic Source Connect Now account with no iLock associated. So what we need to do is we need to marry the two accounts together. So we're going to go back to the dashboard.
This is actually great because I didn't
go to
even
the
know
iLock
that.
section.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to tell us what your iLock account is. Seems redundant. I know we just delivered to it, but it's just two different parts of our website. So there's your iLock account. Validate it. Now it's validated. And hold on. Do I have extra something in there?
Let me see. Sometimes if you have an extra space at the end, Robert. Oh, no, you don't.
I don't know what the problem would be.
There we go. I have no idea. So it now sees the account. Sometimes if you want to kick the system in the butt and make it refresh everything, this is a good button to push. It will just basically register all your licenses and make sure. So here we say, view your licenses, and indeed, here is your license that we just delivered right there. So it's deposited, but it's not downloaded. Now we can go to the download section. We are not downloading the iLok license. We are downloading the software. Because we now have a license in our account with an iLok that's associated with our account, you now have access to the download section. You are running Source Connect is the software. Source Connect Standard is the exact version.
Yep.
Version 3.9. And then this exactly 391 is the current version. We're going to download the installer. You can send that to someplace.
Send it to
Downloads?
yeah,
Or,
downloads.
oh, sorry.
Where did it go?
To downloads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can run it from the desktop if you want.
It's okay. I mean, it's you know, you don't have to keep it around. Some people do, but
Yeah.
so
Source Connect.
so there it is. We're going to open it.
Isn't this fun? So much fun.
What is this? Okay, so then we're just going to run the installer. It's going to ask for your password.
You really have nightmares about doing this every single night you go to bed. Tell us the truth.
I've done this a few times. Yeah. And then you agree to all this stuff. Then you put your finger on the computer and password with your fingerprint. Can you? It needs your fingerprint.
Oh, here we go.
And it's installed. So now we're going to go directly to running Source Connect, but there is another branch that you could do here. You could go, so for instance, if you already have a license, like a trial license, then you could go and to download it won't ask you for the license until the trial runs out. So maybe you want to download your license right away. If your trial is still running and you're going to want to download it right away, you kind of have to go to the iLok License Manager to log in and download it directly. But Skylar's not run Source Connect yet on this computer. So we can go straight to Source Connect and kind of download the license in line, so to speak. So we're just going to launch the software. And one of the first things it's going to do is complain that it doesn't have a license at some point.
Okay, and while it's complaining, one of the things that I learned in the last webinar is this little installer package. If you don't want it on your desktop or your computer taking up space, you can upload it to your Dropbox, which was easily accessible. If you ever were to have a computer crash on you, then you have the software right away. You can download it and not have to worry about it. So that was a neat little trick that I learned in the last webinar, if that helps anybody, because it's not that hard to download it, but it's one more step if you already have it. Why, you know?
Right. If you have a crash and you have to install Pro Tools and Source Connect and Twisted Wave and all these things. If you have all your key tools in one place, then
exactly.
You can.
That's what we said last time, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea.
So
it doesn't happen, but it could.
Yep. So here it's asking for a license because it doesn't have the license downloaded to the computer yet. It's just waiting for him in his iLok account. So this is his iLok account. We have that in the clipboard, and that's the magic password. Nothing wrong with clicking the remember me if you want or not. That's the license it found. We now do, this is important, we now do 3839 license together.
Oh, interesting.
You know, it's a little bit more money for us, but it just saved on tech support and whatnot, where people would buy 3.9 and then, oh, I really needed a Windows version. So that was 3.8. Or I bought 3.8 by accident. So we just decided we're going to end all those phone calls and we're just going to deliver a bundled 3.9, 3.8 license so that ends that. So there it is. And then where are we going to put it? We're going to put it on your hard drive. If you had an iLok and it was plugged in, it would show up here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Assuming the iLock was already, see, when you buy an iLock, it has no account associated with it. So the first time you plug it in, you have to basically marry the physical iLock with your iLock account.
Exactly.
I was reading about that actually last night.
So there it is. You're going to put the license on your hard drive. Next, and there it goes. Continue, and here we are in the software. It wants to use your microphone. That is the point. Yes.
Robert, I love you.
This is your username and password for Source Connect.
Oh, for Source Connect.
And I'm going to be in 2 seconds because it's going to take it a second to log in. 1 moment.
It's like covering up the window here. I need to.
Yeah, you can move it and he'll be back. Do you know your username and password?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I just need to
Access it.
see
And
them.
Roy, don't start changing things so
I
we
have
can
no
actually help
idea
you.
how you guys talk all day long. My voice is killing
Oh, I
me.
know. It does. You know, that is a thing. I've never worked this much before, and I can say it's hard. Throat massages supposedly are good, but you got to know what you're doing because you could hurt yourself.
I feel like I have a golf ball in my throat or something. It's like,
Well, just don't scream at anybody and you'll be okay.
okay.
And don't whisper.
I never scream at anybody.
And don't whisper either. Whispering is really bad for your larynx and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Skylar, you ran into the other pitfall here.
Which was?
You're never going to log in. The database needs to be refreshed. It happens every now and then. So you can try again. Watch, it's going to say you don't have an account and give you some erroneous message that's not true. You can try it. Hit login.
The issue is that it might just be that I didn't remember my password.
Maybe. I think you hit the database is not up to date with your.
Let me see that message again.
Yes, for the convenience of us all, because I didn't see it.
Yeah. So it's going to say, I think 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yes. So
Okay,
if you get this message, what happens, Robert?
You go over to your Source Elements account on your dashboard, and you sign out, and then I guess it's that, or no, here,
No,
can you
you
put
have
your
to
username in there and sign in to your Source Elements account?
So this is what we also learned in the others. If all else fails, shut down your computer, restart, it will probably work again. That was
I do actually, I do believe I do have a document with this information in it, but it has other passwords in it, so I'm not sure I should open that right now.
Probably not. But Sophia could blur it all out. But
I can?
You don't need to. There's probably a way, I'd assume.
I don't feel like editing video after we're done.
I'm gonna write it.
So I'm gonna say no, thank you. If I get paid $400 an hour, maybe.
To edit video, right?
This is going up on the internet exactly as it is today.
So
you
we can do the password recovery.
No. You can do the password recovery, or you can go to your folder. I'm going to stop your sharing. Go to your folder.
That's what I was going to.
Yeah. So go do your folder.
I think it'll be more time efficient.
Let us know when you're.
Do you have some elevator music you can play?
No, we have we have questions. Well, we don't need elevator music. We got real questions to answer.
All right.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Humberto. Humberto, hi. Is it possible to have the license in the hard drive of one computer and in a iLock to use when I'm on the move?
You can move it between the hard drive and the computer, but you only have one license. And so it can be either place.
He's saying no, because if he has the license on his hard drive, and in an iLock, I don't understand the question because
you can't have it in two places at once. There's only one license. Yeah.
So so then the question is, Humberto, you have it in the iLock. All you need to do is move it from one computer to the other.
Right.
Now,
move the iLock from one computer to the other.
But not the license. The license is not movable.
By moving the iLock, you are physically moving the license.
Unless he does what you said to me earlier, where when he is at his computer, he downloads the license for when he's there, and then when he wants to be on the move, he uploads it back to his iLock. Would that not be true?
Yes, he could remove it from the computer, from the iLock, and then it goes up in his account for a moment, then he downloads it to the computer, and then you can remove it or deactivate it from the computer and move it back to the iLock. I can show you on your computer. I can here. Do you want to share your screen really quick?
Do I? I'm just kidding. Yes, of course.
I got
Do I? Sure. Let me plug in my computer. I mean, plug in the iLock because obviously it has to be plugged in. Momentito. Okay. I will share my screens. You're going to show us how to upload, download licenses?
Yeah, I'll show you how to. There's a couple ways to move the license around.
Thank you, Umberto. All right. I'll let you put here.
So, I have to request, right?
You must request me, yes.
Here you go. May I use your screen, please?
I approve this message. Okay, sorry,
I've been doing political ads. And I approve this message. Okay, so I have control. So we're going to basically go to your applications folder. We're going to go to your iLock account or license manager.
Oh, this is the other person. Yeah, we have to sign out of this account and sign into the other one, to mine.
Okay.
Yep. Here, let me do that without everybody seeing. For reasons. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a very
I agree.
Momentito. Where did it go? Oh, okay. So if you are like me, when you started your iLock account and then you decide to change your name, it will remain forever. Just so you guys know. Because that happened to me.
I have to tell you the funniest thing.
Yes.
Of all the pitfalls that someone, and I like, this person took the cake. They got their license code and somehow decided that the right thing to do was to name their iLock account their license code.
Okay.
You can imagine like how long the license code is, a big long string of incomprehensible numbers and letters.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of like completely blew our server's mind.
Because they did that, yeah.
We couldn't deliver the license. I forget what all the problems was, but the name was so long, it had to be completely unraveled.
Well, Faith Coons was my previous name. A lot of people actually remember me from Faith Coons, but then I changed my name 3 years ago. Okay, so there it is, Robert.
So basically, you have 2 locations, and here's your iLock.
Mm-hmm.
And I need.
Oh, you need permission again?
Yeah, I got it. There we go.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's your iLock, actual iLock, and this has your licenses, or actually has your old. I guess that's grayed out. It expired. And let's say
that's the lost one.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So basically here, one way to do it, to move the license to your computer, is just grab it and
drag it out.
Put it there. And now you're going to see her iLock will go down to 1 and her computer will go up to 1. And we've just moved the license from her physical iLock to her computer.
Oh.
The other thing we can do, or go ahead, Sophia.
No, I was just going to say, and you're going to show me how to get back on, right?
Right. Well, even before we get it back on, because you could obviously just drag it back over here. But what if you're traveling and you don't want it on your computer? You don't want it on your iLock because you want it in the safest place possible. Right click or control click and click here, which there's probably a menu item here, I bet, if we
deactivate.
Yeah, deactivate. It's the same as right clicking. And now if we deactivate, that's scary sounding.
This makes me, I was going to say, it makes me really nervous what you're doing, but since it's you that's doing it, I'm going to just take a deep breath and be okay with it.
So now you have no licenses in your computer or your iLock. Where'd it go? Click here. And there's these items across the top. Now, word to the wise, this software on some computers, it gets small. And look at that, just a little bit smaller. And where's all my items across the top? They're gone.
Make it bigger.
Make it a little bit bigger and then poof, there they are.
Okay, so
if you see that and you can't make it bigger, you can also get to these from the view menu.
Okay.
And what we want to do is we want to go to the available licenses section, which is here, Command 2, or click on available.
Okay.
Here's your licenses that are available to you, and here is your Source Connect license safely in your iLock account.
Okay.
And then you say, I need it. Drag it back to your iLock.
And don't I have to activate it again? Or is that the activation?
This is the activation. You've now
Ah,
downloaded it.
okay.
And now we are right back where we started. In this whole thing, we just moved the license from the iLock to the computer. Then we deactivated it from the computer for fun. And then we downloaded it back down to your iLock.
Well, if I just think I need to become a certified tech now for Source Connect Standard, because I've learned everything there is to learn about this. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, so thank you, Humberto, for teaching us one more thing. So I am confident in thinking that my it's here and I don't need to worry about anything.
You can launch Source Connect to make sure.
Okay, just because, reasons.
Yeah.
It's called being in a session and being prepared.
And look at that. That port better be open because we did it. Remember?
Yes, the port is open. Okay, good. Yeah, but Robert, please tell me that no matter what, if I call you, you're going to pick up the phone.
I do as quickly as I can.
Thank you. All right. That's all I ask. Out of all this, that's all I ask. All right. So we can stop my share.
So Skylar, did you get your password?
Yeah, I did. I got it. I just put it in right now. Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead and share your screen again.
Yep.
I guess, or I don't know how that's done in Zoom. In Moose. All right. So, we might have an easy one. UPnP, PNP, or we have a hard one. One of the two.
Should we talk about, though, the different levels before we get there so that they know if they're seeing this, this, and this, so that way we can get them all situated? Okay, that would be great.
So we're pretty much done with the web page at this moment. So let's just, we'll do this with the, here, let me get them, or I have to ask. Control, please.
Approved.
And there we go. So we are just going to take this and put it away for now.
All right.
And we have Source Connect, and there's various messages you can see here about your port. And the first and the worst one in Source Connect Standard is unavailable, which is the same in Source Connect Pro, named failed. That means that Source Connect thinks it cannot get through your router, and you have a very tough firewall. The next one that you might see is unmapped, which basically means that your port is not forwarded to your computer, but Source Connect thinks it can wiggle through anyways. It's not ideal because there will be a connection that will not work. Eventually, maybe it makes 80% of the connections or 95% of the connections. A lot of people roll with unmapped ports and they're just flying under the radar, but there will be a connection that you won't be able to make eventually.
No, and I will tell you from experience that if your port is unmapped, is that the word? Unmapped? Is that what it says? Okay, if it says
or
unmapped.
Not forwarded. Yeah, there's many words for the same thing, unfortunately, in networking sometimes, but yes.
You will connect. They can hear you, but it will be glitchy as AF.
No.
Yes, it happened.
The port has nothing to do with the port has nothing to do with
I'm
bandwidth.
telling you that when I had, no, it wasn't a glitchy in that sense. Well, maybe it was bandwidth, but I'm telling you, I've not had that problem since I've been mapped. When I was unmapped, it would drop it, and I know that's a bandwidth, but I've changed nothing else other than that. So that's why I'm saying that. But if you're saying that, I mean, I trust you.
It's possible that you're going through the streaming servers at that point, and that's adding a lot of mileage to the connection. So it's taking a physical different path. If you have your ports mapped, then the data goes as the bird flies through the internet.
Yeah.
And if it can't do that and it can't push its way through your firewall, and if you've selected the streaming service, which we'll talk about, then it will get through, but it will go a roundabout way through the internet and literally adding physical miles to the connection. And the way the internet works is it bounces from one, what's called peering point to the other. And every single one of those peering points could be a point of failure. Ideally not. The internet, the middle mile with all those peering points, typically is running great. But right now, we've never been using the internet as much as we have before.
That's
in this
true.
point in time.
So if you're
And
having
so
problems now, but this was before I was having problems. I'm sorry, before the world came to where it was
Right.
today. This was before I had it mapped. So anyway,
So
that was my
so
experience. I don't think it works as well if it's unmapped as when it's mapped or open.
ideally it's mapped.
Yeah.
Really what the port mapping dictates is whether or not you can receive audio or not. It's not their ability to receive, it's your ability to receive data. And so sometimes if you don't have a mapped port, you don't hear them, but they hear you. You can end up in a pinch doing a session where they hear you, so you just get a phone call back and they say, read it faster with a smile over the phone. That's not ideal. So a mapped port, you really want to have that if at all possible.
Okay.
So on
and
this
I'm sorry
one,
to interrupt. Yeah.
no, go ahead. So on this one, the next message was unmapped port. After unmapped port is UPnP, which stands for Universal Plug and Play. I forget what PMP stands for. Universal Plug and Play basically means that Source Connect has asked the router for a port, and the router supposedly has given it, but you don't know for sure because you might have a layered network. Often people get internet service, the cable company gives you a router. They don't give you a simple modem. So the router is one layer of what's called network address translation. That's what you're forwarding your port through. And then you go to Best Buy and you buy another router or like a Wi-Fi router, and you put that in front of your cable company's router. And now you have two layers to go through. It's like a joke, but it's like the turducken of networks. You've put one network inside the other, and now Source Connect has twice as many networks to get out through. So we're going to find out now whether or not his port is UPnP is working. We might have to do this twice because it's been a while since he's been logged in, but we log out, we log back in. If the UPN port is still there, it will find it as open because it left it open and you are done. Cool. If not, if it came back as UPnP, then most likely you have a layered network, except for last week when I accused Sophia of having a layered network, and it was really just UPnP not working, which also happens because UPnP is one of those things where the manufacturers are supposed to agree on how to do something, and sometimes they don't implement it in the right way, or third-party manufacturers don't always get their protocols together. So ideally UPnP works. In your case, it has worked. So now what you'll notice, if we completely quit Source Connect because your port is open, the router will leave that port open for a good bit of time. And you notice the first time it took a while to log in, but now, because that port is still open for us, it's going to log in pretty quickly. That cancel button is going to disappear. It's going to disappear. Nope, the router closed it off. So it's got a very short time on that window for that UPnP port.
So is this?
So just ask for it again, and we're going to see UPnP again in a moment. See, it just asked for it again. That's okay. Your port's open. You don't have to check it again because you know in your head that my network is working with UPnP.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
in that case, it doesn't need to say open?
It does. Well, so it doesn't need to say open because we already checked it.
Okay.
We already logged out. See, if I log out and log back in, it's going to come back open because the router just opened it and it leaves it open for a window of time. And there it is. It's open.
Got it. But
if you wait too long, then it closes it and then it makes Source Connect ask for it again.
Oh, I see. Okay. And is this the moment you're going to take us to the source stream or not yet?
Yes, exactly. Okay. So this is, now your port's forwarded. This is the most ideal connection that Source Connect can make. It's as the bird flies to the internet, the straightest line it can make. Let the internet do what it does best. Let's log out. Let's go over to your
dashboard.
Yep. Let's see here. We got, what browser were you using? Firefox, was it? Or is it Chrome? Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So back to your dashboard. Sophia knows the routine now.
I do. But this is not the license to call me and ask questions. I am seriously too busy. And if you don't want to pay me $500, then don't worry. Don't ask
George
me.
is a better deal than that.
Yes, exactly. That's my whole point. George is the person to go to.
So here, let me grab the mouse because we don't need this. So we're just going to go to your dashboard. If I can get the mouse for a second.
Which dashboard?
Here, I got it right here. Your Source Elements dashboard.
That's what I thought.
Which go to your dashboard. That's interesting. Oh wait.
He doesn't have, if you don't check your name, when you save password to remember you with depth, then that happens.
So now we're at your dashboard. You scroll down and you scroll down and you forgot your password or your.
Yeah, for some reason it's not showing.
I don't think that's the right password. I think that's what the problem is. No.
Yeah, it's saving the wrong password. Didn't you just recover it? Maybe.
Oh, I did change it. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Success. So now we're going to scroll down, or scroll down. There we go. Scroll down a little bit more. We've added more messages on the top, and you get your application section. Here's where you can access Source Connect now, by the way. But we're going to go over to Source Connect and its settings for your account, and SourceStream. And we're going to pick the server here in America.
And you pick the server that's closest to you. That's what I learned.
Right.
And if you happen to be in Europe, then you change your settings to the other side.
Right, you change it to Europe, and then when you get back home, you go back to America. I think we're adding some servers, actually, because we've kind of expanded. So now you're in the Americas. And now, let's see, who can we connect?
Can you explain to them so they know the reason? And this only works in 3.9. That's the number one thing.
Yes, that's right.
Number two, don't worry, I told you I had your back. Number two, you only need to do it once unless you're traveling across the pond. And shoot, I lost my train of thought.
And you need a support contract.
And you need a support contract.
Right. So and you can see your support contract. All subscribers have a support contract. This is part of it. So over here,
the monthly, and we'll talk about the plans at the end, but because some people don't understand how this all works, but yeah, go ahead.
So here you have support and you get a customer ID. And so when you call our support system, thanks for calling Source Elements, blah, 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 press 1 for this, 2 for that, 4 for support. And then you type that number in there and you leave us a message. Don't forget to leave us your phone number and maybe, your username but definitely a phone number, please. And an idea of what you need. And then essentially you get in line for the next call, which we normally would return within 2 hours or less. These days are a little bit tough. We apologize.
I'm going to say one more thing about SourceStream. The reason why you want to have that enabled is that when that port has a problem, I'll let you explain this. What is the main reason? Because I'm not that technology savvy.
If you don't have a port, basically Source Connect, when it makes the connection, tries many different ways to get through. It first looks for an open port, and then it connects right away, very fast. If it can't find an open port, it basically tries to trick your router into letting it through anyways. If it can't trick your router, it then looks for a UPnP port. If there's no UPnP port, then essentially you're kind of dead in the water, and only if you have Source Connect 3.9 with SourceStream set up, and the other party also has 3.9 with SourceStream set up, then essentially it will revert as its method of last resort to just literally put all the data through our server.
And this is helpful when we travel because we can't, and we're not, I would like for you to show at the end, once we're all done, how to get access to people opening up their ports, like that 6,000 thing number that people need, because that's where I was like, what? I don't know how to do this. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. So hang tight.
So for Skylar, we were lucky because we didn't have to go
We didn't have to go do that. And with mine, we did. So this is the thing. Every situation is different because all of our computers are different, because all of our routers are different, and because we all have different internet service providers. Mm-hmm. So because of all of that, that's why everybody has such differing situations and different problems given all of that. So we want to, my goal here tonight is to help you cover as many problems, as much as Robert really loves me for that, so that you guys can have this one resource and have the ability to come back and go through it step by step. Okay.
So some other thoughts about the ports. Yes. If you're traveling, sometimes it's a good idea to have a hotspot or at least have a good tether plan with your cell phone. You're not going to get a port through a hotspot or a cell phone unless with some of the providers, I think Verizon charges you like a $500 fee to get a public IP address. I think Sprint charges monthly some amount to get a public IP address. But generally, unless you set it up ahead of time, you can't get a public IP address and set up port forwarding with those devices. So SourceStream might be useful if you're using one of those. And when you're traveling, you don't know if the hotel or the Airbnb internet's going to be good or bad. So it's good to have another option just in case, so that you can say, oh, this is crap internet, I'll use my Tether, or this is great internet, I don't need to burn up a bunch of data. But you might end up in a situation where you have an unmapped port. Maybe it still gets through 90% of the time, but for that 1% or whatever the percent is, if you have source stream and the other party has source stream, it becomes a non-issue.
Okay.
So those are the reasons why you just want to give it as many options as it can get. The third thing about source stream is that some of the bigger, say, networks and the really security conscious networks basically said, okay, you now have that streaming server. We're going to essentially close all our hatches down, close our firewall off. We're not going to do port forwarding, and we're going to require that people only use source stream. And if you don't have source stream, then you're not cool enough to be a talent with us. That's kind of on the fringes of the really, the networks and some of those. But they have made policies like that where they just, I've had conversations with these, IT departments, and once they really decide what they want to do, they decide, it's worth it to us just to say, get the source stream. We don't want to open up even the slightest vulnerability in our firewall at all.
Interesting. Okay. Well, and again, it goes back to the clients are in charge. If that's
Right.
what they say, we now all know in this webinar how easy it is to set up source stream. It's like a click, and it comes with the support, which we'll talk about if you've purchased the actual software and not the subscription, how that can help you. I'll remember to ask Robert at the end. Okay, so Robert, continue.
So let's move on to the actual audio. So we set up source stream. We could go through some sort of process here and break his port purposely so that we can show source stream.
No, because we have the next person.
Exactly. I think there's a chance we might run into it.
And if we don't, we will open it up. And even if I have Bethany, I know Bethany, and we can pop into hers and fix it for her.
So the next thing is your audio. You log into Source Connect. Here it is asking for that port because it's been, I don't know. It kept it open for a while this time. It logged in quick. So
go through
high quality, just leave it. That's the setting you always want. Mono, you only have one mouth and one microphone. 48K, this is what 90% of the post-production industry works at. There's a few tranches that don't, maybe audiobooks, maybe some radio.
I was going to say, sometimes they do ask you to switch it to the 44. This is how you switch it.
Right. Next, so you just select it and it basically reboot itself. Buffer size, low. That's fine. It's lower the buffer, the lower the latency, meaning you have a quicker conversation, but you're also a little bit more exposed to the bumps in on the internet. If you're hearing dropouts from them because maybe there's an issue with the internet or their upload or your download or maybe something in the middle, you can move your buffer higher. And it might hopefully smooth it out some. In general, low should be good. And if you are finding that you have to push the buffer up, you should actually start looking at, why do I need to have a higher buffer? You shouldn't really need that.
So would that be maybe a more bandwidth on the internet for your connection?
And as we talked about, it's not really bandwidth, it's consistency of the bandwidth.
Yes,
maybe
talked about that.
Maybe your neighbor's stealing your Wi-Fi and they're sucking up your bandwidth.
Or maybe everybody's home because they're forced to, and everybody's binge watching Netflix, which I have not had the pleasure of doing yet.
Right. So if you're finding that you have to push your buffer up, it might be worth investigating why.
Okay. Now, my question with the buffer that I didn't ask you last time, is it wrong to have it on auto so that it fixes itself, or no?
Very latent. So Source Connect early on got a reputation for having a really big buffer. And so you time travel back to 2005 and 2007.
Okay, never mind.
And we put in, basically, it would self-determine, but it pretty much always just picked the highest buffer because it was programmed to choose a stable stream over a low latency stream. It was more important to get the audio there intact than to have that quick conversation. And that's where Source Connect has that old reputation for being laggy, but it's not, that's just old versions. And Windows. Sorry.
Yeah, we talked about Windows in the last webinar. If you have a Windows computer, unfortunately, you will have more problems than not.
Right, and it's
Okay.
not a. It's just a reality thing. I know it
And
sucks
then
to
what I
hear.
said in the last webinar was, you know, if we are, you know, as voice actors, the goal is to always have the setup that helps you be the most efficient. I get it. I know what it costs. I mean, if I were to, and I need to upgrade, it's like a 10th. I lost my iPad Pro. If I were to get an iPhone, a Mac Mini, a new MacBook Pro, and an iPad Pro, I'm looking at like $10,000 to $12,000. I get it. This stuff is not cheap. But if it helps me do my business faster and I don't have to worry about things, is it worth the investment? I think so, over a long term of time, of course. So,
Yeah.
you know, and that's why, and I'm going to add this because I did add this in the Spanish one, but this is why we have to charge fair rates. This is why we have to
Mhm.
not accept low paying jobs, because it costs us
Absolutely.
so much money
I
to
wish Voice
operate our
Talent would
business.
charge. I wish Voice Talent would put a charge in for their studio.
Well,
All the studio owners would appreciate that.
You know, for broadcasting quality, for commercials, absolutely. And this is why we have to think that way, because hey, if my tools run better on a Mac that costs twice as much, I need to earn more money. And the good thing is you can in voiceover. You know, and this is as voiceover talent, it is up to us to protect the integrity of our business and to charge more so that we have the funds to do all these things that cost money. You know, so all right, I want to just say that. I'll let you go, Robert.
So back to Source Connect, which is there. So the last thing is picking your audio input and output. He's got a Scarlett. He's got a couple of options here. So you have a USB mic and you have a Scarlett. What are you using?
Well, right now I'm on the USB mic because, like I said earlier, I'm not in my booth right now.
But this is where I want him to know, this is where you're going to choose when you're in your studio.
Yeah.
So that way you know. Okay.
So
in my studio, I would be using the Scarlett. Yeah.
Okay, and right now you have the Audio Technica?
Yeah, I'm using, yeah, exactly. I'm using the 2020 USB Plus for this session.
Okay, so we're gonna select that. You gotta remember to select it to what you want it to be, and then we're gonna go back in here and we're gonna select where our headphones are. Very important, you gotta use headphones. You cannot use open speakers. If not, it will echo back through the connection. So where are your headphones plugged into?
They are plugged into the Scarlett.
All right, so here's,
and you have to select
that's a really interesting setup. In the Audio Technica, out the Scarlett. Okay, so that's fine. So there you are, you can see your mic, and these are the echo tests. They do exactly what they say they do. They echo. You will hear yourself back. This is a way. Yep.
I think you were talking about the setup that I use in my booth, not what it is right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that that's possible that he has it that way.
It's not. I
was going to say that, but I'm like, I don't know.
No, right now, here's the deal. Right now, my AT2020 is plugged into this Thunderbolt dock.
Okay. Well, plug your headphones into your AT.
Yeah, let me do that because my headphones are in my booth right now, and I'm not in my booth.
Well, okay. One of the things, you want output 1 and 2 because you have 1 and 2. Otherwise, you're only going to hear on one side. So if you only hit output 1, then you're going to hear it on one side, output 2. So you always choose output 1 and 2 when you're selecting your output.
Left and right.
Yeah. Small things that I don't know. I mean, I know if you guys are tech savvy, you're like, Sophia, that's obvious. But like for me, it's not obvious. So
Sophia,
I'm telling you.
Do you want to connect to him, by the way?
Sure, I can connect with him.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I'm here not because I'm George Whittam or Uncle Roy or any of those people. I'm here because
Uncle Roy is here.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying like me, why am I hosting this, Sophia? You're not a tech person. I know that's why I'm hosting it, because I want people who are like me, who are like, what? Get empowered. I want to help people be empowered with the knowledge to help themselves. Because if I can do it, and I'm telling you, it's one of those, if I can do it, I assure you, you can do it too.
Here, I'll go into a nightmare story for a second of what has happened in the past.
Okay.
People don't check their microphone here. And when Source Connect, like say you had your USB interface all unplugged and you launched Source Connect and it could find nothing except for your Macintosh built-in microphone.
Uh-huh.
So here it is. And you see the meter bouncing. And then you go into Twisted Wave and you record yourself.
Oh,
but the studio keeps on saying, you sound like really bad.
Shit. Yeah.
And they can't figure out why. And then they end up going like, oh, well, we'll just muscle through or we'll send you the file later. you got to make sure, because right now what's happening is you're in your booth and maybe your laptop's also in your booth, but it's 4 feet away from you, picking up through the crappy laptop microphone. You got to make sure that you pick and check it. Don't just assume that it's there because you see the meter bouncing. Make sure that it's the right input. So he's using his AT microphone right now. That's
And
what
I just saw something because I have I'm like kind of, I can see things. Someone said they would purchase another iLog, but even if you have 2 iLogs, you can only have one license in one iLog. You can't put the same license in 2 iLogs, correct?
Right. So you can't put the same license in 2 iLogs, but the only reason to have a second iLog, maybe if you own Source Connect Pro, which can only go to an iLog. Source Connect Pro cannot go to the computer.
Yes, I
so
know that for 2 years.
If you have the zero downtime service from iLock, which means that if you lose your iLock, you basically go to the website, say it's lost, and you instantly get your licenses back. You don't even have to call us. But if you have Source Connect Pro, where are you going to put it? So maybe you have a spare iLock just in case, so that if you lose it, you have a place to put it.
Okay, well, I know in this case, Roy Halo, he does have a studio and he's going to get Source Connect Pro. So, but he still couldn't use the same license on both iLocks.
You only have one license.
Only one license on one iLock at a time. Okay.
Right.
I don't know his name, so let me.
Sure. Well, we'll use his computer to add you.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so
Right.
I don't have, because this is great. You guys can see how we find each other. And I'm going to say something right now since we're still waiting. When you set up your Source Connect profile, that's really important because, and your username is also important. Like you don't want it to be a 10-digit something or your dog's bad name or something.
Yeah. I hate my clients.
Yeah, or I hate my clients. Oh gosh, they made me spend money. Because Source Connect has a map of all the people who have Source Connect, and studios, actually, believe it or not, especially right now, are looking at the map and finding who are the talent who have Source Connect and are set up. And then they'll find you and your profile is all filled out. So definitely take the time to fill out your profile so you can be found by studios who are looking for local talent, or maybe not local talent, but local to the market, of people who are available with Source Connect. So that is a pro tip if you don't already know it. Okay. And then we're still waiting for Skylar for his.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, so your headphones plugged into your AT mic?
Oh, here's the deal. In order, what I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to actually go in my booth to do this. So
okay,
we're gonna switch to the Scarlett because I have an NT1. I have an NT1 in my booth right now, and the only way this is gonna, my headphones are not going to fit in the jack.
It's okay. Yeah, just go for it. You're on Wi-Fi, which normally we would say try to do an Ethernet cord.
Yeah, always,
I know.
But
if this were an actual session,
So here's one of the big advantages of UPnP. When you forward your port discreetly on the router, it is explicitly forwarded for whatever it's forwarded to. And as far as the router is concerned, your computer is 2 different computers. If it has Wi-Fi, it's one computer. When it connects in on Ethernet, it's another computer. It's 2 different devices as far as your router is concerned. So if you specifically forward that port and then you switch to Ethernet, then it's not forwarded to Ethernet. But with UPnP, you plug in your Ethernet and you turn off your Wi-Fi, and then you relaunch Source Connect and it says UPnP, and now the router just gives it to the Ethernet when it was giving it to Wi-Fi before. So UPnP is very ideal when it works.
When it works, and that is the caveat. And
I've been
okay, take your time. We're going to start answering questions. I mean, don't take your time like, I don't mean it in a like true literal sense. Like obviously we're in a webinar, we don't want to be here all night, but we can answer questions. Galena, I'm not spying on you that way. You're hilarious. And Roy, you want to take your Source Connect with you without but you can only have the license on one iLock. All right, so let's start answering some of these questions. Uncle Roy, you're saying yes. That's not a question. Just as a studio would, still not a question. Hi, what does it mean to register as Source Connect with your intranet? How to do that?
You don't really register Source Connect with your internet.
Maybe what he's suggesting here is the port mapping.
Sure. So the port mapping is to go into your firewall and tell your firewall that I'm expecting data to arrive at these ports, sort of, and like literally they're entry ports. Like
And
you
we're
can
going to
almost think of
show
them as a
you,
dock.
yeah,
you
and we're
know?
going to show you step by step how to do that. And if everybody wants to go along with us, I'm going to recommend right now, while we're in this quite a little bit break, to go to your router, take a picture of the side panel where it has your username and password. You're going to need that to log into your internet service provider so you can go through the steps
Right.
when Robert goes through that, so you guys can get this stuff done on your end. So your router is where your internet comes into your house. There's a little machine. It has all routers, that's my understanding, has a label on there. Take a picture of that, come back to your computer. So when we get to that section, you guys are ready to go and we can help you port map.
Right.
Whatever
Most routers do. The funniest thing is we've done this so many times. We pretty much have learned all the default passwords for every different provider that they use. For instance, Comcast often uses cusadmin and high speed, and others use Motorola, I think, uses Motorola in some routers, and you just start knowing some of the default passwords, and usually it is written on the sticker. AT&T, you absolutely have to go to the sticker because they make the worst passwords ever. They use, it's all symbols and numbers and letters, and it's nothing that even it's.
Could you take control of my screen again here so that we can try to get this?
I'm sorry. Do you need us to stop? You need your control back?
If you could briefly take control and change that from the 2020 to the Scarlett for me.
Sure.
So sure. You're back in your studio. Okay.
So here's the audio options menu. Down to the bottom. Input Scarlett #1.
If that's where it's
again. Output Scarlett. 1 and 2, which we actually did because we were. So now you're on the Scarlett. Okay, now, and if you're in your booth. So now there's these Echo servers, which it looks like they're recycling. They all came back online. They periodically recycle. So when you connect to Echo, you will be cut off automatically at some point. The Echo does exactly what it says it does. It echoes you back to yourself. It's not how it will be when you're connected on Source Connect. We get that question all the time. It's there to let you test your signal sending and your signal receiving. If you connect to Echo and you sound good coming back to yourself, you have a conversation with yourself, you're pretty much good. If you connect to Echo and you have a glitch, you just know that you have a glitch. You actually don't know if you sent the glitch or received the glitch because you just know that you heard it. You're not sure on what leg of that Echo back the glitch happened. So
we're ready to proceed. And you guys, we will answer your questions. The next question is from Linan. You're up next, but we want to finish this and then we'll take a break to answer questions before we move on to the next person. Maybe, and then we'll end with the port settings so everybody has that super clear, because I know that is one of the most difficult parts. At least it was for me. Okay, so we're ready to go?
Are you still hearing me on this 2020?
Yeah, well, let's connect on Source Connect and see if let's add.
I will mute you.
Let's do two things. You have your headphones on. You have you're in front of your mic. We're going to connect you to Echo.
Yeah, my headphones. Okay.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
So you should hear yourself back. If your mic's connected and it looks like it is, and then your
testing.
Connected. Not your AT. Is your phantom power turned on?
Yeah, it is.
Is your mic plugged in? Are you in front of your mic?
Right now, I'm out here again in front of the 2020 because it's still, for whatever reason.
Okay, let's just go to the 2020 then.
Apparently, that's still set up.
Okay, plug your headphones. Are your headphones big or small? Like you have a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch headphone?
These are fairly large. I'm not an expert on headphones.
So is it a plug about the size of your pinky or a plug about like a smaller,
just
thin,
thicker? Yeah. I have a feeling that
they're quite thick.
It's quite thick. Okay. So
you should be able to unscrew that and the other part comes through.
Right.
So in your headphones that you think don't fit, you unscrew it and then the plug that will go into your computer will work.
Or your AT.
Or your AT, yes. I don't know much about USB mics, and I'm not trying to sound like a
hang on a
snob.
second. I do have it right now. It's plugged into the 2i2, and I'm getting a lot of reverb, right?
Okay.
I'm hearing you guys very kind of distantly as an echo. It's quite strange.
Right. So here, ready? Is the echo gone?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, and your headphones are plugged into the Scarlett. Where are your headphones plugged into?
They're plugged into the Scarlett right now.
Okay. So just like you said, it couldn't be. We're going in the AT microphone.
No, I do. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying
it's definitely wrong. Yeah.
It is wrong in the sense that he has to be in his studio.
But the point is you were hearing yourself back, and that's the echo test. You were hearing yourself back through Source Connect and in this slightly strange route.
And for the sake of time, I'm going to say we're going to leave it. We're going to move on to the next person. You have everything. Can you just show him how to add some people?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to do. Yeah. So basically, we now have down here the Manage Contacts button.
Yeah.
Click that. Brings you to the website. Logs you in if it's got your password. If not, we're going to skip that password routine because it'd take you to the same place as this, Manage Contacts. And here you are at the Manage Contacts section. You want to find Sophia or somebody. The easiest thing to do is to search by the name. Sorry?
Yeah, I said it's fine. He can connect to me. I mean, for today, for this moment.
So you click on search and then search by username. And it's
Sophia Cruz VO. And this is another branding. This is a branding tip for you guys. Everything that I do for my business, my name is the same on everything except for my iLife nobody knows about. Sophia Cruz VO, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Sophia Cruz VO, Source Connect, Sophia Cruz VO, IPDTL, Sophia Cruz VO, my website. That makes it easy for everybody to always want to connect with me with my actual name. That is a very important thing that I don't see a lot of voice actors do. And I'm telling you, it makes a world of a difference with your branding and for clients to always think of you as what you decide you want that to be. So,
and you've added your avatar, and that's nice.
Yep.
So basically we searched your name, and that way there's not a list of, like, we didn't search for Sophia and then it brings up every Sophia in Source Connect world. Here's Sophia Cruz VO.
What do these letters stand for on the left?
Where? Oh, yeah. So certified is we've tested with your studio. We've connected with you for about an hour. We've checked that you have good bandwidth. You're aware of how to use your system, et cetera, et cetera. So you're a certified studio. And then the T stands for talent. And then the checkbox here means that you can add Sophia to your contacts list. And so now it should happen instantly. If you want it to happen a little bit quicker, you log out and back in, but there she is already. And so if Sophia is offline right now, but go ahead and log in.
Yep. We are connecting. Please be patient.
Yeah.
Okay, I am here.
So let's bring Source Connect up for a second. And this is what it looks like when you're basically waiting for a session. You're logged in, waiting for the studio to connect to you. The studio will most often connect to you because they're on the schedule. They have craziness going on.
So I'm going to connect with him as if I was the studio.
Yes.
It says that he's offline. Interesting.
Nope, there you go. You were just still, it's available now. Do you see him as online? Nope. Hold on. Here, let's just sort of do the log out, log in.
Log out, okay.
Yeah, so sometimes when you add contacts, it takes...
Yeah, that happened to me. Yeah, so that's good. I'm glad that this happened. So if a studio says, I've added you, we can't find you, then log out, log back in.
Yep.
Okay,
so
now I see him. Yep, now I see him. And I'm going to request him, and this is usually what happens to you when you're waiting in a session. That's literally all that happens. You're here, and then this next step happens. But I am going to say, something really quick. See how when Robert logged back in, you don't see any messaging down here, nothing popped up? I'm going to quickly share my screen so you can see what happened. If you see any messages here, that means something's wrong. It's with something, usually your connection.
We put, you can type back and forth with your connection there, but we also put status messages in there like, hey, we use SourceStream, or we can't get through,
Right.
or various errors
So
will
if you
show
see
up
a
in
lot
there.
of errors, that means you're going to have a bad session, is my experience.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Okay, so there's the connection request, and it usually is followed by the ba-doop, which we didn't hear probably because of the way the Zoom is doing stuff. And so
Or
then,
because his headphones are over there.
right, exactly. So then we say yes, and it takes a second, and it's going to get through, and now you're connected. And it's cut off the audio on Zoom.
I did on purpose because of the echoing.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that.
So we don't hear you guys. You guys are talking bad about us, aren't you?
Yes, and that's how you feel when you're waiting and they're like, hold on, we got to get an approval from the client. You're just waiting like, what are they saying?
Yeah.
They're saying that they didn't like my take.
It's
Literally,
so
we
true.
get so paranoid. But usually it's like, oh, yeah, Sophia's great, but let's focus on what we're going to have for lunch.
That is pretty much what it is. I mean, like advertising's about lunch, isn't it?
It always is. Where are the free donuts? I don't know. I should send donuts for big clients. Okay, so that is how we connect. Thank you, Skylar.
Yeah. One last thing really quick, Skylar, what do you record yourself with?
Excuse me?
What do you record? Did you say Twisted Wave?
No, Audition.
Audition. Okay. So you can just pop open Audition and record yourself as you usually do. And because it's a Mac, it's not going to give you any flack about trying to use the same audio device at the same time with two different programs fighting over the audio device. So traditionally, you don't need to use the plugin for Source Connect. You just open up your recording software and use it like you normally do to record a backup. Because if you record the backup, you won't need it. And if you don't record the backup, you will need it.
And this is another tip for you guys. You always want to ask, would you like me to record on my end? And they'll usually say, no, that's okay, we got it.
But you do it anyways.
I know, do it anyways. I'm telling you. And do not tell them. But then if you're like, oh, I'm so used to hitting record. I actually did record the session. I can send you the file. Oh, thank you so much. We're so happy you did that. Again, this makes you look like a hero in front of your clients. So please always record yourself. Don't listen to what they say. I tell you from experience, you will look like the massive hero. They'll love you. They'll work with you again because you saved their butts. Because the internet is the internet. So that's a really important thing. All right. I don't know. Are you going to show the plugin?
Okay, let's do it.
Only because so many people ask.
Yeah. So Audition is a DAW. It is Twisted Wave is not a DAW. And so the way that you can see if it's a DAW or not is if it has a mixer. So Audition's actually somewhat unique in that it has like this simple mode and then the mixer multi-track mode. So if we go in, and I've never actually seen Audition populate empty like this. So you have to go into multi-track mode. I'm not a master at Audition, but
and I am not a master in Audition. So I know Uncle Roy is. We can have him jump on.
Sure, man.
Okay, let me have Uncle Roy. I'm
gonna
guess
I'm gonna
you're
create
okay
a
with
multi-track
jumping on
session
here with us, or maybe he already left.
Here.
Oh no, he's still here.
So
let me have Roy jump on.
Here. I can do it. We're gonna create a multi-track session, and we're gonna make a template. Oh, there he goes. So that's what I'm used to seeing. Hey, Roy. The screen just got smaller. Hold on, I'm gonna make my screen bigger. Okay, can I get the mouse for a second? Because this.
Yeah.
So basically, the first thing is get your mic into the software. So you need to see your mic in here. You need to monitor your mic. This is the monitor. This is the record arm. Then I just switched over to the mixer. Here, let me get the mouse, please.
Yeah.
So this is the mixer. Every mixer from 1960 on has what's called auxiliary sends. This is the auxiliary send in Audition. We're going to create a bus. We're going to send your mic to a mono bus, and it's going to create that bus right here. I always call this Source Connect. This is really extra credit. Not every talent needs to do this.
And my gosh, I'm not going to do this.
Okay.
I have Pro Tools, and God knows.
Well, you can do this in Pro Tools too, of course.
I know, but I'm going to be using Twisted Wave, so I don't need to do. So people who use Twisted Wave do not have to worry about this.
Right. Well, this gives you something that you can't do with Twisted Wave, which is
I understand.
Now you can play back to your clients, not just give your live mic, but you can play back. So now that we've got the bus here, we need to turn the bus up. Oops. So
well, then maybe I'll have you do that for me, Robert, in Pro
Sure
Tools
thing.
when all this settles down.
Yep. So we're going to put the bus at 0. If we can get the cursor in there. 0 means actually it's what's called unity gain. It's not adding gain. It's not subtracting gain. It's passing it through exactly. So now you see these 2 meters bouncing exactly the same. If I drop this bus down, you see what's happening? I can make that one louder or softer, but you basically want it the same. Put it at 0. Set it, forget it. 0, not minus infinity. Come on. 0. There. So there we are, 0. Next, we're going to go over here and we're going to put a plugin in, and we're going to go down to the VST menu. Actually, I like on the Macintosh to use AU plugins, unless we're not there. Why not? Okay, into the bowels of Audition. We installed a new plugin, but Audition doesn't know about it. So we need to go over here, somewhere here, Plugin Manager, tell it to go find the plugins. I think we can just say scan for plugins.
Yeah.
Let's hopefully it just finds it without having to mess around. And I'm not going to go looking to verify. I'm just going to have faith that if I now go here, if I now go here, there we go. I go down to my AU menu. Crap.
What about VC? No.
No, it's not.
No.
It's
Do you
so
want
we're
Uncle
looking
Roy
for
to
the
take
source
over?
elements menu. Hey, Uncle Roy, you wanna fix this for me?
Uncle Roy,
It's so small I can't
you can't
Okay.
see.
I can't see it.
But
Let's
do you
see
know
here.
how to find the plugin?
Well, here I'll scan for it explicitly.
Which
so,
plugin? The Source Connect plugin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So here we're gonna add it. This is like
My,
it really should have just
I
found
just
it on its
scanned
own.
for it. Yeah, I scanned for it and it was there.
Okay.
Right. So we'll see why not really quick. So
You may
back
have to
into-
get out of the mixer and switch to the FX and then
No, I think let's see here.
VST. No, it's VST3.
So this is where you might want to have Uncle Roy, if you use Adobe Audition, just do this for you. It would be,
Yeah.
if you're like me, I'm like, I really don't want to learn all this.
Right.
'Cause once you set it, you don't have to do it. If it's something that I have to, this is my side of from the talent perspective. If it's something that I have to learn because I have to use it and be able to troubleshoot stuff like Source Connect,
Oh, here it is.
I
Library.
do take the time to learn it. But if it's a one-time set, I let someone else help that, and then I don't have to, because this literally gives me a headache.
It's VST3 effect and then
It's a couple places. So we're not in there. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Let's go
I'm
over
not
here
seeing.
to
I'm not even seeing mine.
components.
There it is, Source Connect. I see it. Right
Yes. So we are
Uh-huh.
here. But why can't I choose it?
Oh, here it is. VST effect, source elements, and Source Connect.
So we're gonna, okay, so we just added that folder. Apparently it didn't have that folder or something. So let's say, okay, maybe. I just added the AU. I don't know if I did the VST. Come on.
It's just because you're remote that happens, Robert.
Oh, damn it.
Do
yeah.
VST.
I didn't do VST.
Oh, okay. You know what? We're gonna
That's where
say
it
that
is.
this is something that Uncle Roy, you are you are really happy to be able to take anybody on who wants to hire you for them to do this, correct?
Oh, now I can see it. I'm blowing up the screen. So let me
But
yeah.
Uncle Roy,
just take a quick look
okay,
in here. Well, I guess I need permission.
you do need control. So you
Here,
need to
do
request
I
it.
release control or can
No,
we
you,
We probably, you just have to give me permission.
no,
So-
you
so-
just
so
have
go
to
to the-
request it. You got to go to Skylar's name on the right hand
I
dot.
just,
You
I
click.
just approved it.
No, I got it.
Okay,
What channel are we adding it to?
if you go to the mix, the aux bus, I called it Source Connect. There it is. That one.
Up there. Yeah. So
The second
No,
channel.
the second
Second
one,
one,
Uncle Roy.
yes.
That one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, maybe go to effect.
Oh,
Oh,
there it is.
There we are. There we are.
It was effect. So it was VST effects. See, this
Effects,
is
there-
what we
there it
pros
is,
on
yeah.
every level.
Okay. So here I'll take over from here.
Yep.
So basically, thank you,
Uncle Roy.
okay.
Thank you.
And now I guess I have to ask for permission. Request.
Approved.
All right. So now basically what we're going to do is you notice that your voice is coming into Source Connect, but you're not connected because you have to go over here. Now we're going to change our input. We're no longer going to use the AT microphone. The AT microphone is feeding into Audition, and now we're going to take Audition and feed it into.
So Audition is Link then.
Is Link, right? The plugin
okay.
is Link, and we're switching our input to Link. So now
that's kind of
in
cool.
Source Connect, now the link goes green, meaning I'm linked up, and I'm going to link the output too, because I'm going to bring them back into Audition. Why? Because it's kind of nice. Look what you get now. So now when we connect, let's connect to whatever. We'll just connect to Echo, I guess.
This is so
Skylar,
cool,
if you don't say anything, it won't echo.
Well,
so now,
I can mute him.
Okay, so now if we're here and it connects through, the nice thing about this is two things. This is your volume, especially if we make this pre-fader. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm engineering a session.
So that's pre-fader. And then that means that no matter what you do with this fader, it still sends it to your clients the same. So now this is your volume to yourself, and this is the volume of your clients coming back at you. And you can now control that.
And so the reason why you would want to do this plugin and go through all this is so that you can then have the client do what again?
Well, number one, you got that volume control, but actually more important than that is you can then go over here and you can record yourself.
Right.
And you're like, blah, 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 blah. And then your clients are like, hey, I didn't actually record that. That was a really good take. Like sometimes maybe they're not recording and you do an audition. You're just like saying it and trying to figure out what you're going to do. And they're like, that was it. But we didn't record it. Can you do that again? And you're like, you know what? I don't have to do it again because watch this. I have it right here. Take off the input monitor. You notice the meter went down to 0, but now when we play, now we're playing it back down Source Connect.
Sweet. And they can hear it just like I'm hearing it.
They heard it exactly.
Oh, that is so cool.
And then you say, okay, did you get that? And they recorded it and they said, thank you, because that was the take we wanted. Now you don't have to do 50 more. Put your monitor back on, and now you're feeding your live microphone over to Source Connect instead of your playback.
Cool. Well, we'll do Pro Tools next. Okay, just kidding, not today. All right, thank you so much. Well, Skylar, I say you hit the jackpot because you got yourself a really nice setup. Congratulations for attending the webinar.
So here, let me finish him really quick. Let's just save this as a template for him. Save as, I guess, export as template.
I don't know. Uncle Roy would know.
Save session as template right here.
No, he says save as.
No, I'm saving it as a template. That way, every time he can create a new one on his own. So Source Connect template, and it's just going to go here. Because that way, when you go
Uncle Roy is export as save as.
That way, when you go new, you can say create new from template. I think. There's a way to create new from template, and that way you can.
Uncle Roy, do you want to chime in here?
Well, I would just save as and name it and name it template, and then open recent or put it on. Save as template, put it on your desktop, and you can always open up.
That's what I do with Pro Tools. Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what I have. So if you hit File Save As there, Robert.
Save it as Source Connect template.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Source Connect template and put it on the desktop.
What?
Okay. Now I'm launching missiles. Hold on.
There you go.
Source Connect template and put it on the desktop. And there you go. Okay, we're done.
You have to hit OK too.
Oh, again. Yeah. Okay. I agree. And whatever that is.
What is that? One more file like used by this.
Oh yeah, the record file that you did. You don't want to save it, so just
no.
So no.
Okay, there we go.
Hey, Skylar. You are all set. I have to move this webinar along because I do. All right, Skylar, it was a pleasure having you here. You hit the jackpot as far as I'm concerned. Enjoy your Source Connect. We wish you many sessions and a lot of profitability.
Skylar, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're gonna have you go return back to attendee and stop your participation. Thank you so much, Skylar. Thank you so much, Uncle Roy. Uncle Roy, you want to ask him your question since you're here?
I didn't see how you made
Roy,
that.
you're up next. Get ready. Not this Roy, the other Roy.
Two Roys.
Uncle Roy.
Uncle Roy and the other
No, we
Roy.
have two Roys, no waiting. No, I didn't see how you turned up the volume on that aux send, how you created the aux send and
it's Audition is really tiny and like hard to click in certain things. But it's on the second level. Like the plugins are on the top and the aux sends are on the bottom. And then I can screen share with you at some point. You can find it in there. But the knob is tiny, so I prefer just to try to click in there and type the number because typically what you want is 0.
I see it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
And
awesome.
then right, so I got the aux, send one.
Right, and then you can click the thing next to it to make it pre-fader, so it's not affected by your fader.
Yep.
Okay, so Uncle Roy, you have your question answered?
For now.
Well, I just want to know so
I
can remove it from my queue.
Well, yeah, remove it from your queue. The other thing is, when we usually make a session in Adobe, we make a stereo session because we're going to add stereo music. But in this case, you can do it all mono.
Right, because this is just backup and playback.
Right.
Okay, and then this other question that you had asked, Uncle Roy, when home studios first started many years ago, I told the talent you have to charge for your studio. Oh, yeah.
That was just a comment about, that we should charge, now that you have to pay $650 or $35 a month or whatever it is. Okay, you could say, okay, I'm recouping it because I can book. But really, there should be a charge for that.
Yeah, of course. And
absolutely.
especially, and this is a really good point, you guys, which I'm really strong with negotiations. But right now, when studios contact you and they're telling you we need to find talent with pro studios, not my words, their words, pro studios, meaning they ask you for your noise floor, they ask you what it's made of, they ask you your equipment. That's them wanting to know your pro quality studio. Those people are the people that you absolutely should be charging them a studio session fee.
ISDN is ridiculously expensive.
Right.
On both ends.
Yes. So when somebody asks you for all those details in today's, like the new climate of voiceover, that's your cue to add a studio session fee. Because if they require us to have this kind of grade studios, it comes at a cost, a real one. Because again, all of this costs like what, $50,000 minimum I've spent in 10, 15 years. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
So
a booth is like what, $5,000 at least for a booth?
Gosh, if a single wall, which does nothing for you, minimum. And if you have a single wall and you live where I live, it literally does nothing for you. If you have a single wall in the burbs and the basement,
even if it's $50, but then everybody has to be on with it because otherwise they'll go to the people who don't charge.
Well,
the other thing is like there's a whole business of studios that do patching, and they're studios and they're not necessarily studios that always do the full post-production and everything. They're there for talent to come into, and it's also their livelihood, and they, it's like, if I've seen auditions where the agencies or whoever's auditioning says, we do not want any talent that don't have their home studio. This was before COVID. Right. Why? You read between the lines. They don't want to pay for an outside studio. So it's the erosion of our business and the infrastructure that supports our business, which are those studios. And even if you have your own studio, when you're traveling, you want to have a network of good studios to be able to go to.
Of course. And then my other question was this: when Uncle Roy said $50, there's a word in Spanish que dice ojo, which means like alert. You don't want to charge $50 unless your studio mandates that. What do I mean by that? A $50 studio, in my humble opinion, I'm not trying to offend anybody, is someone who has a Focusrite 212 and the microphone isn't an $800, $1,000, $3,000 microphone. You can't say you're going to charge $150 and have a Focusrite with your equipment is $300 or $500 and less. That's my professional opinion. If your studio is over $600, I'm going to say, to $1,000, I feel that you can go up to $75. If your studio is my studio, which is $5,000 in equipment, I'm not talking about anything else.
Your microphone,
you have a
U87. That thing's like $3,000.
Compressor, blah, blah, blah. If you're at that level, I charge $125 minimum. And so you have to understand what level you're in and charge accordingly. It's not about, well, charge at least 50. No, it's charging accordingly to what your Studio Pro-ness is.
I meant 50 for the connection, not for the studio. No, I charge $150 an hour for my studio, but I mean for the connection on top of.
Yeah, but you would be better than me as far as studio quality because you've got all the mixers. I'm not there yet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you go to the Post House, they're charging you $25 for the phone patch, $200 for the remote connection. Right. They're marking lunch up too.
And here's the downside about, if we're going to get a little bit into business negotiation, you really just charge once. And Uncle Roy, I understand your point, but we can't list many price. If you say my studio's this, the connection's this, they're not going to want to work with you. You just have to have one studio session fee that includes your connection, and you take into consideration the fact that you're paying whatever you paid for Source Connect, whatever you have as far as equipment. That's what I factor in. And so that's why I was saying, so I can tell you from experience, if you list out too much stuff, your business clients are going to be like, oh, they're going to think you're charging them too much, when then somebody else who doesn't know a thing about business and says, yeah, I'll do it for free or whatever, then you want to be able to defend your rates, but you want to be able to intelligently defend them. And when they say, oh, I'm working with someone who's not going to charge me a studio session, oh, well, let me tell you how my studio is equipped, and I have all these connections ready, and it costs me money monthly. And most really true business-minded people will understand that, but you have to know all this stuff, and that's why I wanted to chime in and say that.
You can have a rate card, because I have a phone patch.
I do have a rate card. I do.
Well, no, but I'm saying a phone patch session is cheaper than a Source Connect session should be.
Of course.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There should be different
well, the way that talents work with me, and I'm only going to speak to myself, I just charge them a studio session fee, whether it's a phone patch, it doesn't matter. That's my whole point. I charge them a studio session fee, and that it doesn't matter what connection they want. I have it. I'm prepared.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. All right. Let's move on. Roy, you're
next victim, right?
The next victim, and we can. We're going to try to do everything we can to get us out of here.
I'm here.
I promised that to Robert. Okay, Roy.
Not to use the bridge name out of here.
Oh.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
All right, Roy, come on in. Welcome.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Share your computer. Tell us.
Come on down. So I'm as far as I downloaded it, and then it kind of got stuck. So I don't think I put the activation code in or anything like that. So
So we'll fly through some of that stuff without explaining it so much, because we've
go ahead.
Let's just
share your screen.
Okay, wait. How do I first give you? I want to give you.
First share your screen.
Oh, share my screen first.
Yep.
Okay.
And then make sure that on the bottom left, before you hit share, click share computer sound.
Share computer sound.
And then hit share.
And then hit share. Okay. All right. Yes.
May I?
Okay.
All right. So let's go fetch the license. Did you give me permission? I don't think you did.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Oh, wait. Approve. Yes. Oh, there you go. Yeah. There it goes.
All right. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Let's go get the license. So you've not downloaded the license. Have you associated?
I connected to iLok. Yeah.
Let's see. You connected your iLok. Manage iLok account. Put your iLok name in there.
Okay, so it would be Float Studios VO.
And validate.
And Roy, ask him the question about Logic Pro. Is it the same way? Do you need a plugin?
Okay, so here's the next pitfall that people found. You have probably not clicked on the validate email from iLok.com when you created your iLok account.
That's probably it.
So we're like,
so it's as easy as that, but you didn't know that. Exactly.
Right.
No, I had
so
no
it's
idea.
like, we're like, this account doesn't exist, because right now on iLok, it doesn't exist until you verify it.
Should I go ahead and do that?
Yeah, go check your email really quick. And I'm guessing that there's an email from iLok floating around in there.
And while we're doing that, I want to answer Linan's question. Linan asked us, First of all, she thanked us. You are very welcome, Linan. I really appreciate Linan. She's a dear LA friend here. So she says she has Source Connect license from 2014.
Okay.
It is Source Connect standard 3.8. Is it still good? Should it be updated? I just checked on the website and I'm still there. Can't find the license number though. Thanks.
So Source Connect standard 3.8, all versions of Source Connect 3 will connect to any other version of Source Connect 3.
Good to know.
Only Source Connect 3.9 can use SourceStream if that's a thing that comes up. But besides that, all versions of Source Connect 3 connect to each other. I actually connected today a guy who had Pro Tools 6.4 running OS X 10.3.9.
Oh, mercy.
And running Source Connect version 2.9, which was the one version of Source Connect that we threw over the fence into the 3.0 bucket. And yeah.
Wow.
They all connect to each other.
That's worse.
And that was the version of Source Connect. That was the one version of Source Connect that was only ever available as a Pro Tools, RTAS, and VST plugin. So that's where you get that super old from 2005 myth that you need Pro Tools for Source Connect.
We're wondering. Some people were saying that, in the groups, and I'm like, I've never heard of that, but okay.
At one time, Source Connect was only a plugin. It started out as a plugin because it came out of the head of an audio engineer. And so, but then it became a standalone actually in version 3.5. So 3.2 and 3.5 was like two versions. One was a standalone, the other one was a plugin.
My licenses, Roy, my licenses tab on where it says locations. Yeah.
That's okay. So basically we have to activate the license now, but now your iLok account exists, which it did not exist before. Whereas
okay, let me finish with Linan. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. So to answer your question, Linan, it's still great. It's one version less than what it currently is, which is 3.9. The only thing is you won't be able to access SourceStream. And since you purchased it, my guess is she purchased it, right? She's not on a subscription model.
I'd have to look it up, but there are subscriptions for 3.8. But if you have a subscription for 3.8, you just say, hey, give me the new version, and we give it to you because it's a subscription. There's no
And the difference is if you're paying monthly, that's a subscription. If you purchase the license, the whatever it was back then. Now she says she can't find her license number. What does that mean?
Well, your license here. Let's.
Is it that number that you got in the welcome email? That activation number?
No, like I think she's referring to the activation code. But if she's had it for a long time, the activation code just gets used to deliver the license, and then it's done.
Okay.
At that point, your license is on your iLok, in the computer, or in the account of the iLok holder. It's one of those three places. Hopefully, if it's a purchased license and it was on a computer,
that she still has.
Sell the computer on eBay with your license on it. Another version, right?
Linan, why don't you text in your the Q&A your username so Robert can look that up for you. I want you to be squared away before you leave. Okay. All right. We're going to continue and then we'll come back to you. All right.
Okay. So let's try to get the iLok account registered now. So try it again one more time with feeling.
Yeah, actually, I realized I just put in the wrong account.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, because I have
there we go.
2 accounts.
There we go. So show licenses, and we'll see. Actually, we'll be able to see if you've downloaded this or not.
And I know Roy as well.
That? Okay, we're gonna. I'm so sorry.
No,
there's no license on that account because we've not delivered it probably. So
that's
Yep. So over to back to the dashboard. Here we go. I'm just gonna do this quick because we've done this before on the other one.
Right. Yeah, this was the step that I missed.
So couldn't Linan go here and see her actual order as well?
She could.
Okay, so Linan,
but only we could run that activation code and see where it was delivered to.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, but still give us your username. But I'm just wanting to know.
And don't put that activation code publicly because then someone could grab it and nab the license if it is.
No, I asked her to put it in the Q&A where only we, as far as I know. Or you know what you can do, Linan, if you didn't want to publicly.
Oh, sorry.
You can just email me.
You want me to sign in?
No, I don't know why we do the actual activation. Somehow the activation assumes that you don't have an account yet or something. It's whatever.
Okay, thank you, Linan, for talking that.
It is admittedly a bit convoluted here, and we do apologize.
Okay, good.
But these are the hoops that we must jump through to do the licensing.
Yeah.
And if there weren't
this is
computer
the problem.
hackers, it wouldn't be such an issue, but that's the computer industry.
Yeah.
Robert, I'm going to just message you the code. I mean, her
Okay.
username. Well, actually, the username is fine because everybody sees that. It's
Yeah.
LAZAGER.
Okay, I'm going to take a detour for a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Zoom in the background. Okay. Hold
Larry Apple.
wait. I'm not in the screen.
Okay.
I have to get to the place. Okay. Larry Apple.
Zager, Z as in zebra, AGER.
Okay, actually, how did that happen? Not a good thing.
Okay, so we
have
can
selected. She's selected a source stream server, yet she's on 3.8, which basically equals broken. Log in, but everybody's offline. Strange things happen because it's all confused. But looking specifically, can I see view iLock? December 14th downloaded. I don't know where it's downloaded to. That's all I can tell you is that on December 14th, you downloaded your license. And it is on a iLock device. It is either on a computer or an iLock or maybe in your iLock account. But indeed, you do have a license.
And it's 3.8 and it's not the subscription and she doesn't have support, correct? I just need to know that.
Yes,
so
yes.
So I can help her.
Check. Right.
Okay.
No support, purchased license 3.8 in 2014. And don't, here, you know what? I'm just going to do this right now. I'm going to take it off the streaming server.
So that she doesn't have any problems. Okay.
Right. So she's now on the legacy server.
Okay. All right. Linan, if you want to, we'll see if we can come to you at the end. Let's finish with Roy really quickly and see where we're at. Okay.
So back to Roy. Okay. So the license is there. We did that. Yes, we did. And now you agree to that. And we scroll down and we go to iLock and we do the start update process because, yes. So now we're reintroducing it. Now it says that it sees the license. There it is. It's deposited but not downloaded yet. We will get to that. Over to the downloads. Off to 3.9. This all looks very familiar to everybody because we just did this.
I downloaded it already.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you install it?
I did.
Okay. You did? Yes, you did. There it is.
Yeah.
And activate. And let's not activate it this way because we already did it that way before. So we're going to say, as if we didn't do this, we will go to the iLock License Manager.
Yeah.
There we go. So this is the other way to activate it. You can activate it inline, or you can log in. Yeah, whatever. Check automatically. Sure.
That's how I did it before. I didn't know the other way. I was told to come here by iLock and do it this way.
So here's your available licenses. Here's your license. Drag it over to your computer. Let it do its thing.
And when you get yourself an iLock, you know how to download it up,
drag it over to that.
Yep.
So now we're basically done with the iLock License Manager. And we go back to the applications and we go to Source Connect and we open that up. And now it's not going to ask. It just goes straight in because the license is there. And then you log in with your username and password.
Okay. Let's see, what was it?
So you're using a UA interface, it looks like?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. What was my password? 10. There we go.
Hit that save box if you want. Yeah, can you get it? Yeah, you got it. So now is the moment of truth. You win a unmapped port or a UPnP port. It's going to be one of those two probably. It's pretty rare to get a failed or unavailable port. It does happen, but usually if you get that, you're in some sort of corporate network and it's all locked down. UPnP. Let's see if we're double natted. Log out. Log back in right away. You have a UPnP port. Congratulations. But
yay. I feel
we are going to need you, Bethany. We are going to need you.
So Bethany has an unmapped port?
Yeah, she has an unmapped port.
Okay, so we'll do that. So basically
Bethany,
for you, back over to here, over to your UA.
Yeah.
Input 1, back over here, over to your output 1 and 2. Connect. Wait for the echoes to come back. And I always do one of the mono ones. It's easier, but it doesn't matter. Oops, sorry, I double clicked on that. I didn't mean to do that. So back to one of them and connect.
Oh,
boom. You're connected. You can say hi to yourself. You should hear it if you have your microphone up.
It's in the booth. I can jump in right there right now.
Okay. But let's actually get out of there.
Yeah.
And let's go over to here. So we're going to log out because you have to log out. And we're going to go to your dashboard. And then we're going to go to, and you see how quick it can be if you want it to be?
Yeah.
And then you go to here and you say source stream. And then you got and you say Americas. And then you say move me, migrate, whatever the word is.
Confirm change. And to answer a question, Roy had said, is SourceStream different from standard, or is it a separate thing like Source Connect now? What is your response to that?
It's a feature service within the ecosystem that lets you bounce data off of our servers. Is what it is.
And do you need to have Source Connect standard on when using SourceStream?
No, well, Source Connect standard uses SourceStream.
Okay.
Here, watch this circus trick. So here is a connection, right? It's going to go right through your port because you have an open port.
Right.
What if sometimes you can get some weird things like it doesn't connect even though it should connect, and so you can do this: disconnect, advanced menu, use SourceStream. This really should say only use SourceStream. If you check this, you are only using SourceStream, which means that if the other party is not using SourceStream, you will not connect. But if I check this box here, now when I connect to Echo, we should see in here the message about, hey, we're using SourceStream. So now instead of connecting peer-to-peer as the bird flies, we just force the connection to go over our servers, in this case for no good reason. But every now and then, if you want to force it to use SourceStream, maybe because it should know to use SourceStream on its own, but sometimes it thinks it kind of connected and it didn't really, and in that case, you can force it to use SourceStream only.
So if I'm going to play add connection, for example, I can force it to use SourceStream.
Yes. Or I had an interesting situation one time where we had two parties that called us up and said when they connect to each other, they had a poor connection. It was dropping out. But whenever they each connected to Echo and everybody else, they had a perfect connection. And there was no explanation. We couldn't figure it out. And then we said, okay, let's get you both on SourceStream, force it to go through there. And we basically forced it to take a detour through the internet, and it worked. Because basically what they were encountering was a poor peering point in the middle of the internet. You don't get to choose how you go through the internet, but in the case of SourceStream, you do get to redirect it. And in that case, it was a kind of ace in the hole. Let's try a different path, essentially.
Okay.
Now, what about connecting it to Logic in the same way? Will
Sure.
Logic Pro work like?
Yep, this is what Logic Pro looks like.
Again, Roy has won the jackpot because I think anybody who's getting this extra service is definitely winning a jackpot.
So VoiceOver template, this is what you normally use.
Yep.
We're going to augment this template. So essentially, you're going to go to your mixer, or window, sorry, and you're going to show the mixer. How do you do it?
Open mixer.
Yeah.
There we go. No, that's not the one I want, actually. I always like it down here, but.
It's right here. You want me to do it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. There you go. How did you do that? Because I was like that.
It's right up here.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah,
I think also, I think it's B also. I think B is the button for, I don't know. I'm
gonna expand your thing, and I'm gonna get stupid Zoom out of the way. All right. Zoom is okay. I want to see the bottom. Can you make your Logic window smaller so that the bottom of it is higher up?
You know what I mean? Yes. Wait, hold on. Actually, give me a second.
I have all this like Zoom junk on the bottom.
Let me see if I can. I usually.
There you go. Yeah.
Was that it? Was that it?
No. Okay. Here we go. That's it. That's what I want. That way I can avoid the all the chat Zoom stuff down there. Okay, this is good enough. And then you click on that. I learned something, and we're gonna scoot this higher up.
I usually create so I can just
So
grab the bottom.
very similar to, so here's your chain. You record yourself on this track, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mike, whatever you want to call it, you're going to create a send exactly like Audition. Send it to a bus. Boom, it creates the bus for you. You're going to call that Source Connect. You're going to do the same thing. I mean, this is exactly the same as Audition. Put that fader up a little bit, but oh yeah, and you can't do numbers here, but you can command click on it and it pops it to 0. What's the command? Yeah. Is that 0? Can you tell what it says?
No, it's not 0. It says bus.
There you go, 0.
There you go.
Yeah.
So command double click apparently, or something like that. So it's going to the bus. The bus is called Source Connect. It's funny because it should have called that Source Connect. Usually when you name this track Source Connect, it then names the bus Source Connect. It did. Oh, bus 1 dash Source Connect. So
yeah.
Where it's going. This is the little on off button. And I like to make these pre-fader. Okay, so now you're pre-fader.
It's calling it that because of what I made sure that the nicknames also have also
the channel number.
Channel number, yeah.
Gotcha. So here's your path. Your mic's not on, maybe, or we should see it here.
Let me see if the mic is on. Mic should be on.
Your input is 1.
Input's 1. Yeah, mic should be on right now. Oh, but I'm not. You're not going to see it fluctuate because it's in the booth.
Oh, you got a nice noise floor down there.
Yeah, I got a so.
Yeah.
Is this a professional studio you're at? Just so I know.
No, I'm not. I'm at home.
Oh wow. Okay.
But that's really
Go
quiet.
on, Whisper Room.
Like
Go on, Whisper Room.
Yeah. So next thing we're going to do is in the plugins here, we're going to put our old familiar. I like to do it with the AU plugin, Source Connect link, and we didn't have to go rummaging through the folders to make it show up. There's Source Connect link, convenient button here. Give me Source Connect, bring it up, and log in. It's asking for a port. Now, notice we did not log Source Connect out. Source Connect logged out because Logic grabbed the UA, changed the sample rate of the UA interface, which changed the sample rate of Source Connect, and Source Connect got bumped, and now it's logging back in because the sample rate changed.
Oh wow.
See, you guys have seriously, I don't know. I haven't had time to attend any other Source Connect training, but I'm curious if this has been covered anywhere else because
By the way,
yeah,
like your noise floor here, you can't see it, but we keep our meter very, very low, and there's your noise floor right there.
Damn, Roy.
Like, because this only goes down to what's that number there? I can't see it. Minus 60. What? Minus 60?
Yeah.
But we're showing you minus 80. You really have a nice low noise floor. If that
you do.
Yeah. Usually minus 60. Yeah, around there is my noise floor. So.
Well, right now you're minus 80.
Yeah.
So we are. This is kind of interesting. Why we're taking forever here. We're just gonna try to.
But if the baby cries, then it comes in.
Right, there's the noise floor. Let's see. Can you hold down Option, Command, and Escape?
Command and Escape.
Thank you. And we're just going to kill that for a second. I don't know why. So hopefully we just come back.
Because we're on a webinar.
Baby, come back. There we go.
Baby, come back.
And there we go. Logged in. Okay. Port open. So, but now we don't want it to be the UA. We want it to be the link in. Oops, I can't see because it's Zoom. Get that over there and over here. And link 1. We patched the input. Oh, see, you can't establish connection with link because sample rate. So, right. What is Logic at? Logic is at
44.1,
isn't it?
44.1. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to change it.
Well, we'll do, we want. I would suggest going 48 personally, but we will do 44.1. So the question is, who is built-in microphone should be able to do 44.1 without a problem. Let's get it changed. Okay, so it's not allowing it to do 44.1 on the previous interface. Here's what we do. Let's take a little extra trick. This is a good opportunity to show this. It's not letting us out. So hit Option Command Escape again. Let's just kill Source Connect. I'm sure. Die. let's go get something that might be useful. When you have like Source Connect and many applications need a good driver to boot from. It's an audio program, and if it doesn't have a good driver to boot from, trouble sometimes. So you're running into that a little bit. Go to bring up the Source Elements app, the Source Elements website. Where's your? I can't get to your dock. I have Zoom everywhere.
No
so
problem.
Here we go. Here we go. So we're just going to go to Downloads. We're going to grab something.
You went to Dashboard.
Thank you.
Oh.
And we're going to go here. We're going to grab Nexus.
I promised you guys I'd give you some kind of issue.
Yep, you did. So Nexus free. And
this is why I think you should just pay somebody to do this. That's going to be my personal recommendation.
So here we go. Nexus audio driver. I guess it's there. And we're going to install, and I hope this doesn't require a restart, but I can't remember on Nexus. I don't think it does.
I think it does. When you put it on mine, it did. At least that's what I remember.
Let's see here. I forget.
If it does, we're going to have to move on because we're already at the time, and Roy will have to work with whoever he wants to get it fixed.
Password?
But he's got his system all set up at least.
Yep.
Yeah, let me just.
Password.
Oop. Oop.
Oops. Okay, so now we know what?
Now we know my password.
No,
No, we don't know anything about your password.
And zip, 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 boom. No restart necessary. Okay, good. If you want, let's.
That one doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, so in here, desktop applications, Source Connect, and what I'm gonna the reason why we downloaded Nexus Free. Nexus Free does not have the plugin and everything, but it's gonna give us a better
launching point
for Source Connect. If you have all these drivers and they're not compatible or they're giving you trouble, just set Source Connect to Nexus, and it gives it a nice place to basically start its life.
This is like really the advanced level of Source Connect standard training. So I don't want all the people on here to be lost and think that, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble.
Now it should be happy getting over to 44.1. And we don't care that we have no input. Nexus is like a thing inside the computer that does many things. We can get into it later. The point is that now that we have Source Connect with 44.1, we can link it.
Okay, awesome. Roy, you have hit the jackpot.
Now,
take Whole Foods credit cards. Gift cards.
Connect, and it.
We'll do lunch.
Yeah, let's see here. Come on.
At Whole Foods.
Catching me in the middle of a.
Hey man, I get 5 juices and 5 smoothies.
Ooh.
So another thing about Echoes, you can connect to any one of the Echoes. He's in mono, connect to stereo. If they are in a good state, they're about to recycle. That's why.
Wow. So I can switch the Echo right there.
It'll mono to stereo convert. This happens every now and then with Echoes. They are abused all day long, and right now
they're been abused.
Yeah.
All right.
But here, let's do it this way. One moment, and we'll get a connection. Sorry.
He could just connect to me.
Yeah. There you go. I was going to log in myself, but go ahead and connect to it because he's not in your support.
Oh, that's right. Manage contacts.
Yeah, well, I have the Magic account here. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Well, you do it then. I just want to be able to get going because I told you I was going to
do some questions.
Yes, we have to do the questions. And this is the above and beyond version. This is the paid version Source Connect standard webinar.
So.
Which I'm thinking maybe we should do. Okay.
Logging supported. Go ahead, Sophia.
No. Let me go with the, can someone change their username?
We have to do it. You write in from the email account associated with the Source Elements account. Tell us what the old username is and what the new username is. It'll take us a day or two. We'll get your username changed.
Okay, so Humberto and Bob, I think was the example. So you could change it.
Yep, just write us. But it's important that you write us from the email account that
is associated with your Source Connect standard license. Got it. Okay. Go back to some more.
And there we go. See, Echo's being dumb. And there you go. We're now connected. And if you go over to Logic, I'm showing up in Logic. So now this is my volume or the volume of me to you in your headphones.
Mm-hmm.
And then this over here is, we got to record Armit maybe. There's, why don't I see your mic in there?
Hold on.
Oh, because you're not in the booth. Right. Never mind. Yeah, we've gone over this. Okay,
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
You and your ultimate noise floor. Yeah, there I am talking to you and your booth that no one is in there.
Okay, we're going to answer one more question from Roy. He has 2 computers. Will be running off his home setup. His other one, he is going to be doing Wi-Fi. He has Extreme Internet Turbo Ultra Meg, over 300 download, 20 upload. Is he going to be okay, or do you want to say something else?
We're on the Wi-Fi right now.
Plenty. Yeah, that's plenty of speed.
Okay.
It's not about overall speed. It's about consistency of your 20 upload, which your most critical leg is your upload. That's what you're delivering to your clients. 20 megs is 20,000 kilobits. Source Connect wants 300 of that 20,000 to be perfect. And really, we recommend usually a meg. But if you take it like in theory, it's really just 300 of that has to be perfect. That's all it wants.
Okay.
It's not speed, it's consistency.
All right. Bye, Roy. I'm kicking
Thanks
you out.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. We are going to have Bethany jump on. Bethany, just so you know, and we didn't talk about this we're going to talk about this with port mapping. When you port map your computer on a Wi-Fi setting, it's going to change once you actually have your Ethernet connected. So right now we're going to
redo it.
Yeah, you're going to have to redo it. So I'm telling you this because you're going to want to remember 2 hours and 10 minutes in, you're going to have to come back to this exact point of video. And when you get your Ethernet set up, you're going to have to redo it because you port it for your Wi-Fi and you port it for your landline.
Yeah. So I'll explain what needs to change when she switches to Ethernet.
Okay. All right. So let me get Bethany on here, and then this is important for everybody. I'm sorry we did the plugins because I know it just added more time, but I know if you are that kind of person, it helped you tremendously. But for the rest of us, we're just like,
Yeah, most voice talent just do the parallel, twisted wave, collecting the audio.
Oh, and then the question is, they can't do Audacity. Is Audacity considered
Audacity is not really a DAW.
So you can't you can't do plugins with Audacity.
Yeah, think of Audacity as a multi-track twisted wave, but it's not really it doesn't have a live mixer, and you need.
Okay, so you can't do the plugins with Audacity, but you can record using Audacity when you're connected to Source Connect standard.
Of course, yes.
Because a lot of people get confused with that because then they think they have to have a DAW that has a plugin. No, you do not. That is the above and beyond, the extra icing on the cake. Okay, Bethany, promote to panelist. We are going to take over your computer. Here she is. Momentito. Let me see if I can bring her up. Uncle Roy, are you still with us? I don't even know. I changed. Oh, here we go. Show non-video person. Okay, there he is. Uncle Roy's there. Roy, we're going to promote you back to panel attendee. And Bethany, you are here. Can you share your screen, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
I had to keep us on track. I promised Robert that I would, and I don't really want to go a full 3 hours if I can avoid it.
And let's see. Is it? Oh, it's having me open my system preferences. Zoom.
Okay, let me go to more questions. Robert, Linan asked me, she tried to download it, her Mac OS 10.13.6. Sure. It says it only goes up to 10.11. Is that true for 3.9 or 3.8?
Yes.
So
3.8 is like.
So she is going to have to upgrade to the 3.9.
Yeah, I mean, some users get away with things, and
well, she's not able to
our
download
programmers
it.
Basically said it's not compatible, and I don't know exactly what it is. But there's something about it that might not work. But I have seen people using really old versions of Source Connect on operating systems they weren't supposed to work on.
You have to click on the lock on the bottom left. Did you do that? Sorry, I'm sorry, Robert. I just want
I think she's got it. And
okay.
There?
Yep, we can see you. All right, let's address this really quick. So Robert, does she have to?
She should.
No, she didn't. Bethany, click the lock on the bottom left. You have to click that in order to make the changes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. What I'm asking though is for Linan, does she have to then upgrade to 3.9?
She should. It's
Okay.
highly
now that we know.
recommended.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then that's 100. We're going to talk about prices, but that's the additional 105 or the 125 for the support.
So, well, there's a couple ways. If you have a continuous support contract,
she does not.
Then it's included. If you have only a few missing months, you can backfill those missing months for $10. And if not, each dot is $89 for Source Connect Standard. We do our licensing on the first dot. So there's no difference. If you have 3.8 and you want to go to 3.8.2, you just do it. You just download it. It's your same 3.8 license. But there is a new license between 3.8 and 3.9.
So it's $89
on the first dot.
So it'll be $89 for her?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then the day that she updated is the new day that her support contract would be backdated to for future updates from that point. So sometimes it's a good idea to grab the update and then grab the support contract, so then you're on track going forward.
All right, let's help Bethany with her map porting, and we will continue with the questions. And this is the last thing.
So do I have control?
No, you have to request.
I'm a little lost at what I'm supposed to.
I don't seem to have the option. Oh, I do have remote control. So here, let me get the mouse.
Okay, so Bethany, don't touch your computer right now.
Okay. Oh,
And you have your picture for knowing to log onto your computer?
Or router, yeah. So, I don't have control. I'm going to stop remote control and ask again.
Okay.
And there it is.
Approve. And then it's saying
back to system preferences.
Yeah,
okay, click on open system preferences. Padlock on the lower left. Oh, it's already open. Click on that. And may I? Yes, I have control. Okay, good.
Yay.
Okay, so here's how you do port forwarding. We're just assuming you have unmapped ports, right?
She does. She said that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got Source Connect. I'm logged in right now. So
okay. So there's stuff all over the screen.
Hold on. You guys, this is the part where if you says your port says unmapped or UNPN and anything but open, this is how you fix this. So hopefully you have your username password so you can follow along step by step.
So I would have gone to the upper left corner, but I can't because there's stuff there. Yes. And I would have said system preferences and this would have come up.
Okay.
And then you go to network. And then you go to network. There we go. And she's on Wi-Fi right now. So you can go to advanced. The green one is the green top one is the one that your computer is using. Okay. Sometimes people have two networks in here, like Ethernet and Wi-Fi. And they
That's what I had in the last session.
Right.
So it's going to configure the one that you select. Yes.
Well, right. It's configuring the one that you select. And if you can change your service order down here. You can say you can drag this on top of that. But generally, only have one selected. There's unless you're in some studio with a mixer controller and things, you just need one internet connection, and that's going to be less confusing for your computer. You can run into trouble if you have two connections.
Let me say why that happened. I'm just trained in my brain that when I have a Source Connect session, I automatically plug in the Ethernet, but I had the Wi-Fi, and because I was rushed and we're doing the webinar, I forgot to turn off the Wi-Fi. So that's how that happened, which can happen at any time, really. So just so you know, have one of the connections open in order for you not to have it. I mean, only if ideally Ethernet really is the way to go. But if you have a great Wi-Fi, obviously, then you just set but going back to my point earlier, if Bethany just moved, she doesn't have her Ethernet stuff. So she has to use Wi-Fi. But when she gets her Ethernet, she's going to have to do this exact same process to port for the Ethernet. So you have to do it for both.
Well, you can't do it for both. You have to change your ports to the other because you can't port forward to two places at once.
What I meant is to do what we're going to do right now. That's what I was referring. Yeah.
So interesting story. I did tech support for somebody and they said, I have an Ethernet. And I said, no, you don't. You have Wi-Fi. No, I have Ethernet. And basically it turns out that they had their Ethernet and Wi-Fi turned on for several years thinking they were using Ethernet. And the whole time, even though they bought an Ethernet cable, they were still going over Wi-Fi.
Oh, wow. That's
because
hilarious.
the Wi-Fi was on top.
Yeah.
And so,
but see, people who are not tech, we don't know that. We don't know that that one thing is what is being used. I don't know to go there and did that. Like, right. I didn't know that.
So here we are. We select the interface, the top one. You go to advanced. You go to TCP, and you basically kind of need this window to reference a few times.
Yep.
First thing, this is your router. This is your IP address. So we're going to go to your router and log in, 192.168.1.1. You use a web browser, except for the case of an Apple Airport where there's an application. And it asks us to tell us that we're doing something that it thinks is dangerous. In this case, this router does that. We say advanced, and we say, no, I really want to go here. Stop warning me. Spectrum.
And then
admin,
Bethany.
Admin. That probably was on the sticker. We just
clearly you know everything. Okay.
Yep. Then off to advanced. I always do the DHCP setting first because some routers won't let you grab the DHCP reservation. They make you pick a new one. So I'm going to go over here to settings, DHCP. Wait for it. I'm going to scroll down and we're looking for DHCP reservations. We're going to add a reservation. Hopefully we can figure out what it is. She doesn't have, some people have a list a mile long in here, but I'm guessing this is our computer here. MacBook Pro. How do we know it's her computer for sure? We want to verify.
Yes,
this is her MAC address, 5919. Is it the same device? Because this is the MAC address for the Wi-Fi, and it is 5919. So the hardware is the what's called the MAC address. It's like the fingerprint or the core identity of that interface. The Ethernet would have a different MAC address, and that's why you have to do the port forwarding separately. So now we know we have the right router. We're going to try to grab the current IP address that we're given already, and we'll see if the router likes that. We might get an error, 192.168.1.2. And then apply. And it says, yeah, so this time it did it. If not, you would have to basically stick. Let's go ahead and do that in case.
No, is this how, just to for people like us, is this how you would set up a static IP address, or is this different?
This is people call it different things. It's called a DHCP reservation.
But is that the same?
Pseudo-static. It's not static, but it's almost static. It always, see, she can take her laptop and go to Starbucks and it will get a dynamic IP. But then when she comes back to her house, still on Wi-Fi, it'll give her the same IP, 192.168.1.1. So she's static in her house, but dynamic everywhere else.
Okay, and so this is to answer other people's questions, because some people's like, so if you don't travel, having a static IP address, would you say is recommended, Robert?
I like the DHCP reservations.
Okay, good.
But it depends, because we could do a static IP and this might make it easier for her, because then all she has to do is she doesn't have to go back into her router. She just goes into her Ethernet port and gives it the same static IP address that her Wi-Fi had, and you can quickly switch.
And this is for people who have their studio like set up, like they built and dug, and I think those are the people who have the static IP, but I'm going to default to what you say, which makes sense to me. That
I don't like doing static IPs for laptops because laptops move around.
Right. That's what I was referring to. When your Mac Mini or desktop would be the ones that you do static IP for. Okay, so then otherwise you do this, what is it, DHP or DCHP? I don't remember.
So dynamic host something protocol.
Okay.
Whatever. It's the I want an IP address, give me an IP address.
Okay.
Is basically, it's a little conversation between your computer and the router where it asks for an IP address and the router gives it to it.
Okay.
In the case of a DHCP reservation, every time your computer asks, the router says, you are this MAC address, you always get this IP address.
Okay.
So now we're locked down is the point. Her computer is no longer a moving target, so that when we go over to, I always go back home, and then we go over to the access controls, and we go to port forwarding. Scroll down, call it Source Connect. Don't need a new service name. External host is empty in this router. Sometimes it's 0.0.0.0, which in internet speak is anything. But in this router, I know that you leave them as blank. Then internal host is, you guessed it, 192.168.1.2, wasn't it? And then you can go over here to verify 1.2. That's us.
Okay.
Over here, next field, TCP. Nope, we want UDP. Next one was our ports, 6000 and 6001. That's the external port. That means the port that's hitting, oops, not 60,000.
You got it. Yeah, I was going to say you got to remove a 0.
I'm doing that. That's the external port that's hitting your outside internet service. When you go here, for instance, when you go over to Google and you say, what is my IPv4? And then it gives you a number. This is where you show up on the internet. So when the external port is forwarded to this address, and the exact nomenclature would be this. When the message comes in and it looks like this, it'd be this, 6000. That's your external IP. That was really geeky. Sorry about that.
No, but in the last webinar, we needed to be able to know this, because what is my IPv4? Write that question down, because if you can't find it, it will tell you.
Right. So the big thing is this. If your router needs to be the router for this IP address, for your public presence on the internet. So I'll show you where that is in this router. We'll finish it here first.
Okay.
So now the internal port is from your router to your computer. What port is it? We use the same port. So internal and external are the same. And then add that port. Data successfully saved. Over to Source Connect.
What's that red stuff up there? Oh, just stuff.
Just instructions about how they do the port range as port dash port, but some of them do it port : port.
Oh, okay.
So they're just telling you use a dash. Some of them use a colon. They're just giving you the syntax.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it's interesting, because I don't know, because everybody's router is different. Okay.
And red stuff looks bad, right? So
yes.
Off to Source Connect, open Source Connect. You don't know your port status till you log out, log back in. Because it said port not mapped. I kind of moved fast, but it was saying port not mapped before, and now, boom, port open.
Yay! That's awesome.
See, Bethany, you could have figured that out, right?
So here's the thing you want to watch out for. You keep on doing, and everything you do is right, and it's always right, but it's not working. Why? Because you don't really have public internet access. Your internet service provider has put you inside their little tiny network, and then they're giving everybody access through the same portal, and then essentially you're kind of screwed. You can't really do port forwarding. So here's the reason why. Internet connectivity. If we go to this section of the router, I think IPv4. Who are we? We are 96.39.224.230. Which
that matches that number.
That matches this number here. If I can get to it, come on.
Yes.
That means that you can port forward because you are in control of your public internet access. If that was a different number, there's somebody in between you and the public internet.
And then that means that they will have problems port mapping, correct?
Correct. Maybe it's because you have 2 routers in your house, or maybe it's because your internet service provider has put you behind their larger network.
And then they would have to
cell phone
contact
providers.
Would they then have to contact their company to say what's going on?
You'd have to contact the company. There's little chance they're going to change the way they do things.
Okay. So then what does the talent do in that sense if they can't change it?
Rely on SourceStream.
Okay.
And cross your fingers on an unmapped port. So with the Wi-Fi cell phone connections, they put you on their general pooled connection, but they don't really put you behind something that's very strong. So Source Connect can pretty much get through those pretty easily.
Okay. Well, those are all the problems you can run into. And that's why we're having this webinar, because, and this is why I've gone this long, because I want you guys to have a comprehensive resource, because not a lot of people know all this stuff. And no, you don't need to know it. I've been in 5 webinars now, and I'm still learning stuff, as you guys know. But the more we can be equipped to understand what can possibly go wrong, because we all get different situations, the better off you're going to be. If you get a new MacBook, if you move, this is when you have to deal with it all over again. So, okay, thank you so much.
So let me show Bethany something really quick.
Yes.
So Bethany, when you get your Ethernet plugged in, you're going to go over to, first go over to the home. So you go to 192.168.1.1 and log in. It's admin. You're going to go to the router settings, and you can leave your DHCP reservation for Wi-Fi. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to add a new DHCP reservation, clicking this button for your Ethernet, and it's going to be Brittany's MacBook, but it's going to be a different IP address, different MAC address, and a different IP address. And then once you have that, all you're going to do is you're going to go back home, and you're going to go back over to router control and over to port forwarding. And you can only have the ports forwarded to one place at a time. 6000 and 6001 can only go to one place. So you're going to take this port rule that we already made, and we're going to click on the pencil tool to edit it. And we're going to change this IP address here to the new IP address of your Ethernet instead of your Wi-Fi.
So so write this down so you don't forget as far as the numbers that you need to go back and forth. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Bethany, I'm so glad we can help you. Thank you for having a port on maps to show us how to port maps or whatever this is called. All right. Did you have any other questions we can answer live for you while you're still here?
No, this is perfect. I have more learning to do. But I'm very grateful for everybody's time. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, and you can add me on Source Connect, and
Yay.
we can talk. Bethany literally lives 2 seconds away from me, so
you see, you got it for free.
I
you
know
don't have
everybody.
A support contract. Bethany, get that support
you got
contract.
it for free. Okay.
Oh, I just started the trial today, but I'm totally gonna.
Oh, okay. That's why.
Yeah,
That's why it says.
I'm just trying to learn, and I'm absolutely gonna sign up for the subscription. Don't
all good.
Well,
I'm just giving you.
No.
crap,
Honestly, we want to help her. I mean, it just happens to be Bethany said, and it's not because I know her, because she was the only one that said ports unmapped. Okay. Thank you, Bethany. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Let me stop her share. And then, okay, so we're going to go to the questions. And then I told Lenan if she still had problems that we were going to bring her on really quick. Okay. Thank you, Uncle Roy. Let me unmute Roy. Uncle Roy, do you have any other questions or anything you want to add before I change your role back to attendee? He might be sleeping. No.
Roy.
I guess okay, no worries. Bye. All right, let's go to the Q&A. Thank you, everybody. I really hope, I know, trust me, this is like, all right, so let's go down the questions. So do you need an ILAC account before a Source Connect account?
Best to do it that way.
Okay. Someone says, as Bo, you said as an IP address. I don't know what that's in relation to, so I'm going to have you type up a full question. Lynn Foley says, once you get Source Connect, you decide later that you need to move it from your desktop computer to your laptop. Can you get the ILAC device after the fact instead of getting the device when you initially get ILAC?
Yes.
And the reason why is because you have the ability to move the license like we showed you by just dragging and moving it, right?
Right, exactly. Okay. Anytime.
All right. So what do you do if it's not mapped? Well, we just answered that question live. Hi, I had the trial version, support set me up, but he couldn't figure out how to get it to stop saying unmapped. Are you going to address how to fix that issue?
Are you the party in Canada with the crazy router that we couldn't make it, even though everything's...
This is Leisha Wheeler. Do you remember her?
No.
I
can't remember
I know
names.
you've talked to so many.
But we did run into one router that, I mean, amazingly, they called up their ISP, and their ISP gave them a public address, and we matched up the V4 addresses and the router, and then still, no matter what we did, it would not map, and it's like extremely rare. I remember logging in, going like, "I'll take care of this thing," and that router had the better of me.
So so essentially, there's always exceptions to the rule. It can happen, and if you've done everything you can, that is literally all you can do.
Right, but we're still working on that case. It's still in our support threads.
So yeah. Leisha, let us know if that was you.
Yep.
And if it wasn't you, then do what we just showed you to do, because 99.9% it works. Okay, what if the port is not mapped? How do you open the port? Okay, we just answered that question. Oh, I love this, so easy. If possible, can you cover how to configure ports for a port not mapped? Yes, we just answered that. Awesome. Is it required to purchase mesh or something else to contact directly to the router, or is Wi-Fi fine?
So the mesh Wi-Fi systems, almost like, if you've got like a 4-story house and you get a fully meshed Wi-Fi system, you're almost invariably going to put yourself in that layered network where you have the turducken of networks, because the mesh is that what she's talking about? Like the Wi-Fi mesh systems?
I have no idea. I don't even know what this means. So
sometimes people have houses that are so big or whatever that they have to distribute their Wi-Fi with multiple devices, and they make these mesh systems that you can buy. But the mesh system is a network inside. It puts another network in, so you have to basically do the port forwarding from your first router to the second router, and then the second router is your mesh, and then from the second router into your actual computer.
So that would be definitely a support question to you or one of the people that she can hire, because
I'm guessing that's what she's talking about with mesh.
Okay, well, hopefully,
networks.
Galina, that answers your question. Jackie, I should have mentioned that I had to download 3.8 because I'm on Windows when asking what to do if port is unmapped. It doesn't matter if you're Windows or Mac, you still port your the settings the same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's just different windows in Windows. Haha.
And Roy is asked, do we have to have Source Connect open when using SourceStream?
SourceStream is only a service for Source Connect. So it's like,
you're not going to open SourceStream.
Tires on your car.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it kind of works together. Maria, if you have Windows, when you first purchase Source Connect, you can switch to 3.9 when you get a Mac?
Yes, in fact, now if you subscribe, you just get both licenses.
But if she didn't subscribe, I don't know. So Maria, you're going to have to tell me,
if you bought it, you have to ask us to switch it. And then
you will.
And it depends on when you bought it. So if you bought it when 3.8 was the current version and then you didn't have an updated contract, then you might have to update. If you bought Windows when 3.9 was the current version, then we just give you 3.9.
And we're going to talk about the plans and all that he means when he says contract, because I know not everybody knows that. Also, as being on Windows, my mic doesn't show up as an input option and my headphones doesn't show up as output. Should I be choosing input 1 and output 1.2? That would be we would have to see a situation, like we would actually physically have to see her computer, I feel, to answer that question. I'll see if we have time. Lynn, what is the certification process? I'll let you explain that again.
Yeah, so basically we hook up with you.
And you pay.
Yeah, it's a $75 thing. It does come with Pro. You're given a certification with Pro, which is $14.95, or a standard at $75 extra. It basically, we hook up with you, we stream back and forth. We use the queue manager, which we haven't talked about, but that's not a big deal. And we use a queue manager to see exactly how many packets arrived and how much loss there was on your connection. If you have a solid connection, that's one thing. And then we also want to make sure that you have everything sorted. Ideally, you have Ethernet, you have your computer working smoothly, and you're aware how to use Source Connect. And then if all those things check off, you get the certification badge.
Okay, it's just for me, it's just another layer for marketing. I want to be seen as the best for everything. I'm guessing this is Linan. She can't download 10.3.316 to the Mac, 3. Only go. So she has to just purchase the 3.9 is what we've deduced, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll have to tell her that later. But Bo, I'm sorry, just saw your message. Says, could we go slower? I know it went fast. The replay will be up on my website. I will do my very best to get it up there tonight even, but I have to still finish recording and I have to record all weekend and I don't get a break at all. So please be patient with the replay. I have so much work to do, no joke. Dino, you are so welcome. I'm so glad that you found this webinar to be amazing. I think Robert is amazing. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And Roy, we already answered the question. We don't believe everybody should have static IP unless you are the people who dug in and like built it and your computer stays in your studio. Otherwise, the DCHP or whatever.
The DHCP reservation is the better way to go.
Okay. I was there, but Mike tied up with Adobe. Robert will be in touch.
And,
okay.
And let me go back to the other question.
Yes.
You absolutely do not need a static IP from your provider.
Oh, good to
You
know.
don't need you don't need a public static IP address. You just need if you even want to go with a static IP address, it's just static between your laptop and your router, not your internet service and the entire rest of the world. That doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Maria says she didn't buy it. She's getting it tomorrow. And I forgot, Maria, what your question was. Sorry, if you can ask it again. And Galena said, yes, someone mentioned that the router is on a different floor to her house and she got a mesh. So you're saying don't do that because it's going to cause more
Well,
problems?
I'm not saying don't do that because you
Okay.
might need a mesh system, but if you do that, you basically have to do double port forwarding. You got to forward from the first router to the mesh and from the mesh to your computer.
And Maria, can you type up your question? I know it's Windows versus Mac, but like, what do you mean? I don't remember. Oh, I think she said, was this the question that you said if you purchase it on a Windows 3.8, because that's all it goes up to, and then later you decide to upgrade to 3.9, then the answer is yes, because you haven't purchased it. And as of today, if you purchase it, it comes with both licenses, correct?
If you subscribe today, it comes with both licenses. If you purchase it outright today, because 3.9 was the current version, even if you got a 3.8 license, you just ask us and we give you the 3.9 because you really did buy 3.9.
Okay, perfect. And you definitely need to purchase 3.8 because that's the only one that will work for Windows. Okay, yeah. Let's go back to more questions. If I buy the Pro outright, what is the support on that? You might have answered that. I don't know.
Okay, so here's some support stuff. When you buy Source Connect Standard outright, it comes with 6 months support. After the 6 months of support expires, you have the option to get a support contract. The support contract's available in 2 different ways. Either a $28 automatic billing to a card on file every 3 months subscription in a sense, or reoccurring billing, or $105 per year where you manually purchase it each year. Either way, it's the same. As long as from the date of purchase, then you get the 6 months of support, then you buy a support contract. Some other point in the future, as long as there's no gaps in your support contract between the initial purchase date and whatever point in the future, then you get whatever versions are available in between that time without any further charge. If there's a gap in your support contract and you need an update, then you can backfill your missing months for $10 a month. Or if you have more than 9 months of missing support, then really it's $89 per version. So if you are someone who purchased Source Connect in 2007 and never updated it, and now it's 2009, and you need to go from 3.0 all the way to 3.9, I forget exactly. In theory, that license is actually, you might as well just buy a new one, but we don't actually do that. But still, updating that license would be like $450 or something. Conversely, if you had purchased it and had updates and you had 3.8 and then you had a gap in your support contract that was more than 9 months and you needed 3.9, then it's just $89. So if you're updating by buying the a la carte updates, it's all the updates that would have happened in between where you were and where you want to be.
Okay, perfect. So this goes with one of the questions. If you get the monthly license and then decide to convert to perpetual license, do you get credited the $75 initial setup fee?
It's
no.
Best to pick right up front.
Okay.
It's about a two-year crossover point. Not quite. It's 18 months. The subscription is less expensive on the what do you call it? In the short run, and the buyout's more affordable.
Buyout is more affordable.
The subscription is more affordable in the short run. The buyout is more affordable in the long run. The crossover point is about 2 years, 18 months. Here's some of all the other fine print.
Even with the support contract, it's 2.5 years.
Yes. So okay. Here's exactly how it goes. Think of the subscription as really $25 a month, and $10 a month is the support contract that you would have run into with the buyout. So how long do you pay $25 a month before it eclipses $650? And that is the crossover point, roughly in time. But you have some options with the subscription, because you can start your subscription and you can end it whenever you want. And if you stop your subscription and then later you start a new subscription, we look backwards at your most recent previous subscription run. And then if you held your previous subscription run for 4 months or longer, when you buy the new subscription, email us, we'll refund you the $75 setup. If you have your subscription for only 1 or 2 or 3 months, and then you stop it, and then you start a new one later, then the $75 does reapply. So you can drag that 2-year crossover point out further if you did every other 4 months for, at that point, 4 years, I guess, or 18 to 36 months or something.
Numbers.
Wow, right?
Yeah, my numbers, I just pay $35 a month because I need support and I don't want to worry about anything. And if I charge my clients for a session fee, oh, look, it's not a problem. Okay. Can Source Connect work with satellite internet?
Bad idea. So satellite internet is highly latent. It has to go all the way up to the bird, as they say, and back down. And so it might work. You got to try it beforehand. You got to see how it's going to act, and you're probably going to have a pretty good delay. It's the only thing worse than satellite internet is probably trying to use Source Connect on a cruise ship in the middle of the sea, which is using also satellite internet.
That would be interesting.
But people have done it.
I know.
And if you've ever paid for internet on a cruise ship, it's expensive.
Not before the election season is over, though.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the support contract cost for the Pro when you buy it outright?
All support contracts are $105 a year or $28 per quarter. With Pro, which I didn't answer before, you get 1 year included in the support contract.
Oh, so you don't have to worry about it for a year.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, we have come to the end. I'm going to ask Robert if he wants to be kind enough to have Jackie jump on, but I don't want to keep everybody unless you guys really want to stay for this part. We're going to try to figure out why her input isn't showing and her output isn't showing. This has been another spectacular webinar. I continue to learn a lot. I feel it's my duty as a voice actor to do so. I do this out of the kindness of my heart for everybody. I hope that it has been super valuable to you. The replay will be available. If my engineer friend out there is willing to upload it for me, it will be available tonight. If not, then I'm going to say Tuesday after I deliver everything that is due on Tuesday, which is a lot. So, thank you. If you guys want to see what's happening with Jacqueline, you can stay on. Otherwise, we are going to let everybody leave. But Jacqueline, let me get you on here really, really quick because I really want everybody. I want you guys to feel like you can be helpful to your clients, and I get that. I get that it is difficult to connect with Robert, and I know it costs a lot of money to connect with everybody else who can help you. I don't see her. I think she might have left already.
No.
Oh, she did. I think. Yeah, she did leave. Okay. Well, then that concludes tonight's, oh, we got more questions. Of course we do. Thank you. Okay. If you are a monthly subscription to Standard, are all updates automatically included instead of paying $89 for each update?
Yes, absolutely.
And you are also very welcome. Well, thank you so much, Robert. Please get some rest.
Thank you guys.
I need to eat. My problem is that I can't eat because I'm so busy. Everybody have a fantastic whatever day or week we are. I hope everybody's
it's almost Saturday, isn't it?
Everybody stay safe. I wish you guys plenty of bookings. And I wish you all the very best and have a wonderful, whatever it is, weekend. And we will be in touch. Well, Robert, I'll definitely talk to you about my Pro Tools later. Okay.
Sure. Hey, do you want to do it as extra credit?
No.
Okay.
I literally can't right now. I need to eat. I've had one small meal today. And it's
totally.
Yeah.
But just let me know when you want to we'll just jump on and do that.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Let me stop the recording.
Thank you guys.